Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good Sunday. I have Robbie Privilege back again to talk about the state of the Black community. Robbie, anything you want to say to the people to get started?
Happy springtime. Happy Sunday.
Right, right. And then also, I do want to let y'all know that the reason Robbie is up here is because I respect her series, Fighting That Sleep. She's on a mission, trying to get Black people to understand this is what's going on. Are you paying attention? Do you see it? What do you think about this? Let's discuss. And I think that that is a great thing. And I think more people should be, Robbie, at some point, if you can, drop your channel in the link. I'm gonna try to put it in the description after the end, but I do think people need to be paying more attention.
Oh, thank you, babe.
Oh, no problem, no problem. Hey, Doug, welcome, welcome.
Hey,
Okay,
Doug.
so the first topic that we have here today is going to be discussing our Black history, right? So I
Mhm.
know, right, I understand completely that this is March. But I want y'all to get used to talking about it at different periods of time in the year. We don't have to always do it only in February. That's something that was given to us. We have the choice on whether or not we want to be able to talk about Black history going forward. And to be honest with you, history teaches us about our future, about our current as well as our future. It gives us, more control over our future when we understand the history. So, what I want us to do is talk about some standout moments in Black history, what we can learn from that, and what does it tell us about now, and how we can use it to control our future. So, Robbie, you want to go first?
Oh, I mean, there's so much that goes on in Black history. I do think that it's really crazy that we limit ourselves to just February and the celebration of Black history in February. I actually have a video that's going to be coming up very soon about Brown versus the Board of Education, because if those of you that don't know, I live in Arkansas and there's a lot of Black history around me like every single day. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, Black history is just the legacy of reality TV being, dropped by the 12 or what have you, and us fighting each other. And quite frankly, it just can't be that. It just can't be that. There's so much more. And we're not being told these stories because we're not telling it. They're the first African American owned toilet paper company has been doing phenomenal things using retainable sources, and nobody even knows about them. Why don't we know about Ultra Cosmic Nine, but we know about who got shot? Make it make sense.
Right now, hold on. Okay, so I want to go through the two things that you gave us, right? One,
Yeah.
the Brown versus Board of Education. I am extremely happy that that is one of the things that you want us to pay attention to in Black history, and it stands out, right? Think about what this was. This was the decision for segregation in public schools to stop. Now, why is that important? Is because that separate with but equal wasn't working, right? They put it in theory, but there's a thing, about where certain theories you gotta actually practice it in the spirit of which it was put there. Separate with but equal, people weren't practicing it in the spirit of what that was supposed to be for. Yeah, you want to be separate, but then if you look at the other group as inferior, equal, you're not going to follow that. What they were doing was their view of equity. They felt like we were inferior, so we got the lesser of all of the textbooks, the school resources, all of that. We got the lesser version of that.
Yeah.
So therefore, if they had so much time before that, while that was in place, to make sure that they were handing things out equally, and they refused to. So then that's when we had to, as a culture, wake up and say, hey, they're never going to give us equal. So if this way we can be in there with them, and if the schools are no longer segregated, they can't pick out one specific student in the classroom and give them the lesser book and then hold them to the same standard. It was like basically forcing them to realize how they were subjugating our education. And so, you know what this tells me about our current? is that people still like once we got like the access, that was it. Like they felt like that was the end of the fight. So we got the access, right? And what we need to do for our future is actually utilize it. We need to be more accepting as a culture of education. We no longer live in a time period where you are able to just blatantly be, kept from learning. That's no longer a thing anymore. That would necessitate us saying, no, we don't want education. We don't have that problem anymore. So now we need to be able to use the education that's out there because we're still held responsible for knowing. So what do you think about the current and what we can do for the future?
I mean, honestly, there is so many student loans, student grants. There are so many work programs, scholarships. They have scholarships for literally every and anything. And I find it alarming that it's not the conversation anymore. How can I get my child to have a scholarship? Well, what track do I need to have them on academically? We can start with making sure our children have their heads focused in a book, have their aspirations focused on their end game. We also need
Mm-hmm.
to stop pushing our children out into these streets. Other
Mm-hmm.
cultures keep their children at home until they have a firm footing and a solid foundation in order to build a future. We send our children out with a garbage bag and $20. No, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not doing it. I'm not going.
Exactly. Exactly. And then, we also like if you I've lived this with certain members of my family that look at you, look down on you if you get any additional education. Like you're supposed to stop at 12th grade, like you did as much as you're required to do. Anything more than that is like a detriment, right? They don't see the
Right.
benefit in it. And then working in the school system, I've encountered families who, when the child comes home and they say, hey, we need this for school, the parent is looking at it like, damn, this is going to cut into my budget for what I wanted to do. I can't wait till this person graduate. And they definitely ain't helping out with college applications. They are like you get waivers for college application fees nowadays. So that's not a good enough excuse to not, encourage your child to do something after graduation. First of all, you never stop learning. Throughout your entire life, there's always going to be something that you're learning, even if it's
Well,
not formal. Go ahead.
let me ask you this. When is the last time that you seen people in a community of color, people talking about the LSATs, the SAT,
Yep,
actually, you know what I'm saying, trying to prepare themselves to be able to pass those entrance exams? They're not
exactly.
resume building.
You know how many black people don't know how to write a resume?
Too many.
Exactly. And then get upset with you for saying that you need a resume. Look, why would any company pay attention to you or give you a job or opportunity with them if you don't even have a list of your recommendations? Even with just talking to people, when you assert something, they want to know what your credentials are. They want to know what gives you the right to speak on this subject. Why are we still having trouble understanding that that's part of life? You don't get to go. We are the only culture that allows people to just be an expert with little to no information or a record, a solidified record of of success in that area. They don't have to have much of anything but just an opinion and a voice.
Their opinions be so backwards and twisted and shady. And the funny thing is, every profession that you go into that is a legitimate profession has continuing education classes and credits that you have to take.
Exactly. To keep up with the new knowledge. Because guess what? All these other cultures out there, they're still learning. They're not stopping once they finish one thing. They still have a curiosity, a thirst. So they go out and they figure out new information and then they bring that back and you have to now get up to date with it. That's how you stay current. I know a lot of black people aren't very mindful, meaning grounded in their current reality. Because how else would you explain people not understanding that things have changed since we're still handing down the same information and you're not allowed to question anything? We squelch the questioning. We squelch the curiosity, the experimentation out of our children. We squelch the creativity in our children, and that's why Brown versus Board of Education is very important. I think in our in our Black history. So shout out to you for bringing that one up.
Thank you. But it's just, and I hate to speak on these topics because then people say I think I'm better than, and that's something I've been told my whole entire life. Oh, you think you're better than? Oh, you're condescending. Oh,
Yeah,
and I'm just like, hey, yo, if you don't realize that, having a child before you have an education is not the best idea, that's not on me, that's on you. If
right,
you don't realize that you have to have lived some form of a life before you can pour into another life and start them on their way, that's on
right,
you. And I need
right,
I need people to wake up. Like, if you are a child, when you have a child, what are you able to teach a child? Everything you're teaching them is coming from a child's perspective. It's
right.
immature. When we look at Erickson and Piaget, they say you don't complete concrete operations inside of your mind until you're 25 years old. That
Yeah,
means if you're having a child younger than 25, you haven't even figured out how to make good decisions, how to get yourself to a place of self actualization. So, if you have a child while you're in that stunted place, and psychologists all across the whole entire field of psychology will tell you, if you miss psychosocial markers, you constantly stay stuck at that age in that cycle
yep,
until you reach that marker.
right. Exactly. And here's another thing. Whenever you have a child, if you're connected to that child, you grow up again with that child. It's just
Right.
that they are more grounded in things that are happening at school every single day around them than you are. So you do have to do some listening. And for you to be able to rectify in your own mind, why should I listen to a child who's younger than me? You have to have matured past the age of 25, like Robbie was saying, to be able to recognize that there's still something that the child has access to that you don't. And we have a lot of parents that don't get that. They don't understand that and they fight against that. And that goes with being educated. What we used to believe about children, there was a time period in life, right, in human existence, where they looked at children as little adults. After much more research and understanding and knowledge, right, and wisdom, they were able to see that that's not actually true, that there's a gradual learning curve that has to happen. So you can't treat children like you would adults. But if we're still stuck in the past, we're not paying attention to, we don't have the best information. Because now we have the access to the same and the best information. There should be no reason why certain things we don't know. That's no longer a good excuse, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Okay, so now that's one. Right now, the second thing that you said, do you remember the second? The company where you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is the name of the company again?
Ultra
The
Cosmic
inventor?
Nine.
Okay, what is it called?
Ultra Cosmic Nine. I already shared you the screen, and I'll drop the
Oh,
link in the chat.
nice. Thanks, Robbie. There we go. So talk to
Mhm.
us a little bit about who is this company and what did they do? Because I gotta say, I don't know this. But in my defense, I was learning about other stuff. So if you just haven't been learning about nothing, then you don't get a pass. Go ahead, Robbie.
Yes. So this is a African American owned company, and they sell bamboo toilet paper. And now they're, going off in the merch. Go off, go off. I love it. But
Right?
they have this bamboo toilet paper, and it's sustainable. They're using bamboo trees, and bamboo trees reach full height in 3 to 5 years, which means they grow 30 times faster than hardwood trees.
Mm,
So while we're talking about toilet paper shortages, and this company is relatively affordable. Now they didn't raise
mm,
up their prices a little bit, so if you just getting in here now, honey, you paying a little more, but it's all right. It's okay.
mm.
For 48 rolls of toilet paper, you're paying $56, which is not really bad when you think about it. You pay $14 for 12 rolls of toilet paper.
Yeah, so it's like a dollar and something, like maybe $1.60 something a roll, which and I don't know where you at, Robbie. I know you told me before, but here in Houston, like, so what is it? Six rolls is the $12, 12.49.
Right. I'm in Arkansas. Girl, I'm just there's some people that'll get the bargain basement brand toilet paper. So, they like to cut up
Oh
their
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, now that's true. But at least with this is easily renewable. I've heard other people were saying that we need to start using bamboo more often because it does grow back faster, right? It's more available and it's easier on the environment. So this is something that a black company paid attention to and is offering to the public now.
Yeah,
Why are we not all in mass as black people buying from them or any companies that they're associated with instead of making all of the mainstream companies owned by somebody other than us rich every day? Yeah, if
it's
you buy it more, then it'll be in a store on the shelf next to it and it can be more convenient. But in the beginning, everything else that you bought when it first started out wasn't very convenient. The fact that you bought it made it more convenient. So
exactly.
that's not an excuse from, in my opinion. I don't want to hear that as an excuse. Now I didn't know about this, but I am definitely going on this website after the broadcast end. I'm gonna just see what they got.
Like I said, they have their little merge, but the primary action item is the toilet paper. But buy some merge and show it off, and what I'm saying, show them off. Panda, panda, panda. Hey, but this is again another one of those instances where videos are suppressed and shadow banned, because I did a video on this company a while ago. Matter of fact, I'm about to pull it up right now.
Okay.
And actually, let me go to my channel. It probably would be easier that way. And I think that video has like 100 views. Why is that something that is banned on this platform? And I want you guys to really start thinking about that. Like, they're shadow banning good content that promotes positivity in the African American community, but they're throwing down your throat every day the
Yep. WAP.
dramatics.
Yeah, we hear WAP, we hear violence, we hear all of this other stuff, but we don't hear about this.
Right.
Now MOT, so who sells out once they become popular after 5 years? You mean like new companies? Okay, so while we wait on MOT to let me know which part he was referring to. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, right? I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say I'll get new companies. Yeah, yeah. And so here's the thing. So once they sell out, if hopefully they will restock and they will keep going and they will ride the wave. Now I do gotta say this. There are a lot of us that give up on something after we get a certain amount, after we get what we consider to be enough. And that's something that we got to stop doing too. Why is it so wrong for us to dream and think big? And that's what a lot of the things that kept us going in the past, that's what helped us to be okay. Let's see, hard not to accept billions of dollars in stock. Yeah, I know. But see, that's another thing, man, tomorrow we got to stop selling out everything. Sometimes we got to just stay smaller until we can do it ourselves. We don't have to sell everything. I know it's hard to resist, but if we have foresight as a people, we'll be able to use that foresight and say, hey, no, it's going to be better for me to keep it in the long run. And that also means that you're going to have to be ready to fight when somebody tries to take you over forcefully. You're going to have to be able to still ride that wave and you know, stay the course. Once they realize that you're not going to settle, you want me to share the screen?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm trying to take
Oh,
some stuff off the screen. I don't like people up in my business, girl. I take
oh,
some things off.
okay. Just let me let me know when you're ready. But yeah, so man, tomorrow
Okay.
I completely understand where you're going with that, but that's more stuff that we need to change as black people. We can't always accept the first offer. Even yes, we can't always sell out to somebody bigger. You could, if you don't sell out to the bigger person, you can one day become their competition. And that's a bigger place. That's better. Yep, exactly. They hostile takeovers, and I know it. I know that happens, but we got to find a plan to overcome that. We can't just say, "Yeah, this is happening," and be okay with it, right? We do still have to fight back. That's why I feel like black people, we don't have enough time for the BS and the playing games. We have stuff that we have to do if you're able to think bigger. Okay, you ready, Robbie?
Yes.
Okay, here we
So
go.
now I'm not gonna play the video, well, unless you want me to. But this
No,
is a
you
video
can go
that.
ahead.
Okay, cool. I'll just play it then. Then let did I share the audio? I'm not sure if I did. I think I might have. Okay.
Let me see. It doesn't say whether. you did or didn't over here. At least I don't know where I'm looking at.
Okay, so then let me stop it and let me reshare it. And what you guys will notice is this is a video promoting an African American company, and I got two thumbs down on this video. Like for what? Because it's talking about
Mm-hmm.
positivity. All right, go ahead, boo. We can share the screen.
Okay.
All right. Did earlier today, I was talking about bamboo toilet tissue, and people were like, "Oh my god, bamboo toilet tissue? What is that? Like, bro, what you talking about, girl? Always talking about something crazy and new." Well, guess what? In this video today, I'm going to show you the bamboo toilet tissue and give you a little bit of information about the company. Stay tuned. Welcome to the madhouse. There's so much power in my name. If you pop up and you say it steady, I'm gonna do the way. Come on, come on, come on. Okay, so this is Ultra Cosmic bamboo toilet paper.
Oh,
Now,
so you bought it. Okay.
paper is 100% bamboo. Oh yeah, I never tell anybody about anything I haven't used myself. No trees were harmed in the making of this product.
See?
Opening it fresh, and it's about to go right in my bathroom after we finish the video. So, bamboo toilet paper is really like it's one ply, seems super thin, right? Like, ew, that's so thin. But I'm going to tell you, you hear that? It really is a strong tissue. It's I use it all the time. Durable.
Now,
Now,
wait a minute. Now, it's not rough, right?
Room, but okay, we'll just. That thing is soft, baby. That thing's
Okay.
soft. You see that?
No, because you said durable, so I just wanted to make sure.
My shirt is very, very wet. And pulling it, it still isn't ripping apart. Now I know you guys are like, why the hell you look at toilet paper? What does that really mean when you're going to the bathroom? Well, when you're going to the bathroom, the reason a lot of people waste toilet tissue is because toilet tissue happens to be it's so many little fibers that it falls apart easily. The thickness, the
Yeah, that's
softness
talent.
is also very soft. I don't want to keep wasting toilet paper, so let me just put it out. You hear that sound? It's soft. That's not how most. Well, that is how some toilet papers sound, but again, you use it and then it breaks apart. And it simply it breaks down. And I'm pulling. It takes a lot of effort to rip that apart. So what that means is when you buy the bamboo toilet paper, you're gonna have more longevity with the bamboo toilet paper, and you're gonna spend less money overall. Now this is a two-ply brand, and I don't want to pull it too much. It seems kind of together, but guess what? Look, we'll do the same test.
So you know what they finna say, right? You out here eating toilet paper, but that goes to this.
But exactly, but sometimes you have to use something extreme, so you know what I'm saying. The visual stay stuck.
Right, exactly.
It also fell apart super easy.
Okay, so now listen. If they want more of the video, they're gonna have to go to your channel. That's the point. So, y'all can't see the whole thing over here. All right. Y'all got to support Robbie because she's bringing us information. So, here's the thing though. Like, I like the fact that you were illuminating a company that's doing something now. Like that's something. If I could find like a black business around here with something tangible, because I use like intangible stuff, like getting my hair or my nails done or something. If I find one that sells something tangible, I will start doing that as well. Because if I want to be, I got to be part of the solution.
Exactly, and it is harder to sit there and quarterback a situation like, oh, black people need to do this, oh, black people need to do that. If you're not in the game, if you're not actually reaching out to other black people, if you're not trying to share creative ideas and business innovations with other people, then what are you doing?
Exactly. So, and welcome, Emmanuel. So now here's okay. So I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, right? One of the things that I think in the Black History timeline that needs to stand out is August of 1619. Yes, yes, I am talking about slavery, the first recorded instance, at least. They brought about 20 something Africans over into the United States to be forced into hard manual labor with no respect, no compensation. Now, what happened? Well, I mean, I've heard certain accounts where, it was other tribes that sold certain people. There, it was kidnappings, and I believe that a little bit of all of that is true. One thing I did do this February is they had like the Black Lives Matter collection on Netflix, and a lot of different streaming services were showing Black History films. And so I did go ahead and sit down and watch them in their entirety and pay attention this time, right? And so I could only imagine what it was like in that time period. But what we need to understand is that what's stopping it from happening again? Yeah, we got all these laws or whatever, but all those laws are still only bound by the attention or the desire of people who are in charge. We still, like, no, slavery is not actively happening. No, it's not. But the institutions derived from it are still alive and well. And, right, we are susceptible again as long as we remain individualized. So, what does that say for our current? I believe that a lot of things that were garnered towards survival, everything but revolting or, just flat out refusal and suicide by white people, I guess you would call it, everything but those situations are happening, and it's still being passed down. We got a lot of stuff that we still do from that time period, a lot of viewpoints that we still hold towards ourselves. After we are done talking about the Black history moments that stand out, we're also going to talk about how to love being Black, right? So, yes, I'm going to say it. That was a big deal. It broke us off here in America, right? It broke us from having a connection to the African continent and the various countries and tribes there. And then yet again, we still don't quite comfortably fit in here. There's a lot of discourse about whether or not we do fit in here, whether we should strive to do so or whatever. And here's the thing: we can't do any of those things until we come together and say what our plan is going to be, and then we stick to that plan. We actually follow it through to see the real results. Right now, we got a bunch of people trying a bunch of different things. That's chaos. That's why we don't interact with each other well. We have different beliefs. We're never following through one plan. You could have a lot of these plans, but there's plans A, B, C, and D. You put them in order, right? You don't do them all at the same time. And that's what it looks like to me for our current, right? Now, what does this mean for our future? We have to protect ourselves to be able to not fall prey to that again. We already know, we know what happened the first time. We don't have to replay it unless life feels like we haven't learned our lesson. And with a lot of stuff that's going on out there, I mean, what's to stop it from happening again? What have we put in place to protect ourselves as a culture, as a people? What have we done that says never again? No, we're just waiting. We're just happy and excited that they don't have that idea right now. That's not enough, in my opinion. So, what do you think? And I went ahead and got that right on out of there because at some point we was going to talk about slavery. So I went on and threw it out there the first time. So, what do you think, Robbie?
I think that even though people think the Willie Lynch letter is a forged document and it never happened, that the Willie Lynch letter was penned in 1712. And there's a big portion of our history that is never really taught. Like it's seldom taught at best. And that is the
Mm-hmm.
Stono Rebellion. And the Stono Rebellion was important because it changed the face of slavery in Carolina and had ramifications for other colonies as well. And
Mm-hmm.
that rebellion solidified slavery because it let the people know that they have to have us born here, completely break our connection to Africa, make us the Negro born in America. We are cut off from who we are and our roots. Our roots are here. That is categorically the biggest problem in the African American community. We're born here. We have no direction because we have no history.
You bring up a good point because there's a lot of people that don't realize, like we all are familiar with the revolts in Haiti, but they don't realize that there were a lot of revolts here in America. Some of them were successful up until, they got reinforcements or whatnot, but everybody wasn't always just going. A lot of people died trying to get their freedom, and for us to go right back into slavery, or either its light, version, that is a slap in their faces. They died for nothing. And I just want to share the screen real quick because I want you guys to see this list in case nobody has, you know, in case you haven't thought about it before. Here, let's see. Oh, wait, no, hide that. What if I share the tab? I'm still learning about this screen share, y'all. Bear with me, please. I get better as we go along. Okay, so can y'all see that?
Yes.
Okay. So that the one you were talking about was in 1739, right? There was 1811, there's 1831, but look, this is the list of them, right? Just in order. So even as early as 15, oh, no. I didn't want that to happen. No, Caribbean, North America. Okay, here we go. Do y'all see this list? Even as early as 1526. Black people have, like, I want you guys, this is going to be important for the next topic that we have about loving being black. We weren't just easily going, it was all throughout. There's never been a significant chunk of time where there wasn't a revolt happening somewhere. And what I like about this is, even if it wasn't a successful revolt, somebody had a plan and was able to convince the other people, around them to participate in that plan to fight back, and they had a view of having their freedom. So it wasn't just easily led like people would like us to believe about ourselves. We weren't just excited about this or giving up. It's just that it's hard to keep the motivation if you've had a lot of failures. But look, eventually some of them were successful. So you're going to have to fail a whole lot of times. All it takes is one yes. All it takes is one success. Then all the failures in the past don't matter because you're there now. So don't count the number of failures and be like, oh, well, yeah, maybe we should quit. For certain things, that's true. But other things like life and liberty and freedom, there's never enough failures that should make you say, yeah, it's okay. And Air Black TV says we're in a time warp, or a kind of zero time, where our thoughts and opinions and actions don't matter, but for when it serves a white agenda. Well, see, now do you enjoy living in that? I want something bigger than that. Thanks, Emmanuel. He says, um, that's a scary thought. We don't have anything in place. Never thought of it like that. Well, that's the point, is that I sit around and I think about all of these things, and I want us to get our head out of the sand. We can't be ostriches anymore. We have to get up, pay attention, and do something about it. No more, I'm tired of the whining. Okay? So, yeah, I went ahead and threw that out there in terms of slavery because I think people neglect the things that would give us hope. And that's a learned behavior. I get it, but we can't continue doing it all of the time. Our history and time stopped to pick up their time and history and live and think that, yeah, but we didn't pick it up. We just were on the outskirts of it, which means we were suspended. They got to live. We didn't. And now I'm suggesting that we wake up and start living again.
Right.
Welcome, DOD. Thank you so much for the compliment. Okay, so now do you have another one? Any other things that stand out in Black history that you want to make sure that everybody's focused on?
Um, this okay, let's just talk about it. Hell, this
Yep,
presidential campaign, Kamala Harris is not African American.
yep.
Now
Yeah,
people
so
gonna
did you
be
hear he already slipped up and called her President Harris? And he's
child.
falling down steps. He's like, so Brandon has on his channel all of the times that we not supposed to laugh at Joe Biden, but he's messing up. Okay. And he already is starting to call her President Harris. So just so y'all know, I don't want people to start getting excited. She's not black. Okay. She is what? Asian and Native American and a little bit of black. So if she not 50%, I personally would say no.
She she's not black, and this is the thing. It's not a slip up. You understand? This was the plan all along.
Yep.
Y'all gotta understand. The plan is to have two women in power by the end of this presidency. By the end of this presidency, you're gonna have President Harris and Vice President Pelosi. Did you ever notice how Sleepy Joe was so sleepy during the campaign trail, but once the election happened, he was pumped, honey. He's ready and raging to go. A lot of people that are African American are Democrats and they voted for Joe, and it was Joe, we did it, not realizing that Joe Biden has spent the better part of 5 decades in Capitol Hill putting forth crime bills, putting forth legislation that helps to make Black people slaves by definition of the 13th Amendment by becoming wards of the state. And y'all think that this is somebody that has your best interest in mind. This is a person that helped Hillary Clinton coin the term super predator or super thug. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but because y'all got a soundbite and he was chilling with Cardi B and her WAP, ow, ow, and they put
Mm-hmm.
up commercials with get your booty to the pole, people stripping, everybody went and voted for Joe Biden. Oh, he's lit. He's black like us, just like Bill Clinton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Sure.
Exactly. See, it's basically they give it to you a little bit at a time so it's palatable. They don't dump it up. But when you, as a person, sit down and you think back over all of this and you can see it in the clumps, you see what happens, right? Basically, everybody's supposed to be stripping. You're not supposed, like, first of all, I was offended because I can be talked to about the issues in a political election and I don't have to have strippers to tell me, right? I don't have to see like nigga trinkets to make me want to go vote. I care about my future, going forward in the future of my kids and my descendants in and of itself. I don't have to have like all of these little the celebrities trying to tell me. I don't have to have all of this stuff that's they basically are treating us like children. You have to get a kid's attention. An adult should already be attending to the things that matter.
I found it more offensive because I felt it was a slap in the face to our black men. That
Mm-hmm.
whole thing with Cardi B, that whole thing with the get your booty to the pole, that wasn't marketing targeted towards African American women. They know they already had us in the pocket. Kamala Harris
Mm-hmm.
is an AKA, she part of that Divine Nine. All the sisters was gonna vote for her.
Mm-hmm.
That was to get our men to increase the vote for Biden. And that tells you what they think, what people think about a whole entire subculture in society is always predicated upon what they think about the men, because the men are
Right.
supposed to be the warriors. They don't see black men as a threat intellectually. They
Yeah,
don't
they feel
see
like they can just wave some butt cheeks in front of you and you'll just hand over your whole entire life. Like as a
that part.
man, you should be offended. I'm offended on your behalf. And then as a woman, they didn't even bother targeting us, like you said. Because here's my issue why I'm offended. They would have never told us about her being in a sorority at a black college if they didn't think that we were going to use that to say, yeah, let me vote for her. I don't care what college she went to. She could have went to a predominantly white institution if she still came back and had our best interest, at heart. So, like, I'm offended with that. They didn't even bother talking to us. Oh, let's just tell them a little something about her. Then the women will just vote for her, and they did.
Right. And then this is the thing too that got me. Oh, well, I was smoking weed and listening to Tupac albums. Okay. Why in the hell does that make you deserve my vote? You're telling me that you are a person that imbibes in recreational drugs, and
Hmm.
you have a predilection for gangster rap, which means that you probably got a little bit of, violent tendencies. Hell, you might be trapping out this bitch. Why would I vote for you?
And here's the thing, okay, so it's not, in my opinion, that bad. It's just bad that she brought it up in the election like that was supposed to matter. You know how many people smoked weed in college? The point is you leave that in college and you grow up. I don't care what you did in college. Tell me what you're going to do now and what you've been doing since you've had a political science career.
Right. And I'm not saying that smoking weed or listening to Tupac music is bad. What I'm
No,
saying
it
is
just ain't
on
have nothing to do with her platform, or at least it shouldn't. I hope she don't have a bunch of stuff on there that she try to do because of Tupac or weed. Like, now that's gonna anger me.
right, but that lets you know that the target wasn't the Caucasian voters, the Hispanic voters, the Asian voters. Everything she did during her campaign was targeted to black voters. Ooh, she smoked weed and she listened to Tupac. She's cool. Let's vote for her. But nobody paid attention to her history as Attorney General of California and how she was locking people up for marijuana offenses. So if you smoked weed, shouldn't you be a little more lenient to weed smokers?
Yeah, and here's another thing. They're legalizing weed and making it a business now. So that means that you need to go back and retroactively issue at the very minimum DBAs, but possibly some LLCs for people that y'all locked up because of weed.
That part.
Now, I haven't heard anybody say that. Now, see, this is the thing. If y'all vote for me for president, right? That's the kind of stuff that I would do. And I'm not, I'm not big upping drug use or selling drugs or anything like that. But what I am saying is that I feel like the reason that weed was illegal is racist. And they need to repeal all of that because it does have some usefulness. I'm not telling anybody that you get to have like a cocaine business, but guess what? In other countries, they do because it's crop.
Now
Well, not
that
not cocaine itself, but y'all know what I mean.
yeah, the poppy, the poppy seeds and all that other good
Yeah,
stuff, and the coconut and the cocoa leaves and stuff. Yeah, but
right.
they didn't illegal. They didn't make weed illegal because of race. They actually made weed illegal because of the hemp oil. It had a lot to do with the oil
Yeah, in the
industry.
cotton industry.
Yeah, they didn't want to like step on that industry's revenue. So they said, oh no, we can't have this. Just like with the electric car. In 2001, the electric car was already in production in California. A lot of celebrities had them. There were electric stations in California, and they changed the law so that electric cars were illegal. And then they figured out a way to incorporate the electric engine into the oil one so that the oil barons wouldn't run out of money.
Hmm.
But
That kind of stuff. But here's the thing. This is what they did with their success. They lumped together and found a way to further protect its future. That's what I'm suggesting that we need to do just for ourselves, right? Not an actual item, right now. First, we need to do that for our lives. Come together and lobby and find a way to protect its future. The cotton industry came together with a special interest group and they made sure that any competition would not be okay. Like you just talked about with the electric engine versus the oil one. Because see, here's the thing. They're mining oil and all of this stuff, but the prices go up when they can't get to it and it's a whole big battlefield and all of that. Why not use electricity? That's something that, we wouldn't have to keep digging into the earth to get. So why not? Well, because then now my money ain't gonna matter no more. So now I got to make sure I still got to wait for money to come in. Y'all gonna keep buying this oil. Y'all gonna keep fighting over it because I get paid when you do so. So you
well,
see
we
the
not
difference? We need to do that. Go ahead, Ruby.
right, but we're not even going to talk about how them controlling the oil industry and the prices also controls all of society. How can
Right.
trucks move? How can you get to work? How can your stuff in your house work without some form of oil? So that was a very lucrative move. But I wanted to ask you if you saw How to Cover Up a Drug Scandal on Netflix.
No, I did not. That's the thing.
Yes. So allegedly there well not even allegedly, epic. There was this drug case and I forget exactly the place the it was located in. I want you to watch it so that we could discuss it though. And
Okay, I'm
these
looking it up on my Netflix right now.
yes, these two people, Sonia Farrak and what is this other lady's name? Dubin, Duchik, whatever. They Annie Dukin, they were working in a crime lab and they were getting high. And these are white people. They were getting high. They were smoking crack, girl. They were making crack at their little desks and their cubicles. They was lying. They was
Look, I found it. So I'm gonna let you know when I finish it so we could do a thing.
yes. But the reason I brought that up, because I don't want to get all into the story, the end result was there was a class action lawsuit where like 35,000 convictions got overturned because of their involvement. So we as a people need to have our black lawyers get together and file a class action lawsuit against the United States of America to overturn every single conviction for marijuana related crimes, from possession with intent to sell, any of those, they all need to be exonerated immediately.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, and then if you've noticed Arab Black TV's comments, I'm not, you know, like I understand where he's coming from. So it doesn't like I'm glad that he's feeling comfortable enough to type it in the chat, right? But that's the point of this live stream and the live streams that I do is because I do want to change that. I hear you. I get, what you're saying. I get the impact, but you can't give up. That's like earlier, even though black men are getting cut down with and they're not having a lot of say so or whatnot, that doesn't mean you got to stop talking. Still keep doing it, like otherwise if you give in to it and you stop talking, then it worked. What people need to understand is cutting off the voices of black people isn't going to work. So you pick something else. Stop trying to do it. And that's the only way we get out from under things like that.
Exactly, and that's what they're counting on. And I mean, I have to say, and some black men might find this offensive, it's remnants of buck breaking. They have broken the black man's spirit from slavery days, and black men haven't found it in them to rally back en masse. I'm not saying that there aren't specific examples of black men, unifying the people, but then look what they did. We're not going to talk about Martin Luther King and what they did to him. Everybody has seen Judas and the Black Messiah. Everybody has seen the recent documents that have evolved about Malcolm X's assassination. Like, y'all have to come together, and instead of fighting each other and instead of competing about who's high value and who's low value, if you see a brother that's low value, pull him into the fold and make him high value so that y'all can have an army, because it's harder to break a bundle than it is to break a single branch, and y'all are out here being single branches. I need y'all to bundle up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. No, I get it. I get it, Air Black. That's why I'm happy that you typed it. Now, okay, so I got another timeline, right? How about
Mm-hmm.
around 75 to 100,000 years ago? What were black people doing? Well, there's evidence that there were black people over here in North America minding their business.
Minding their business, just minding their business.
Right? So like this is I want us to not feel like, oh, we just never went anywhere, we were just all trapped on the continent and we had no idea about the world or none of that. No, it would have still been black people here. We just would have come over on our own accord. We would have the same self identity and self esteem as other cultures when they come over here. When you come on your own accord, you give yourself credit for having noticed something about your environment and putting together a solution and following it through. You have a sense of um, agency when you come on your own accord. And that's why a lot of people, we get into arguments with immigrants about their viewpoints when they get here, but that's where it's coming from. They didn't like something back then, but for in the homeland, and they made a choice and saw it through. Yes, you were right, Bap. That's exactly what I'm getting at. It was already black people here, and that's even before white people. So do we know this? We need to understand. We were explorers as well. I literally heard somebody say they're proud of the white culture because at least they went out into the world and and did stuff. Yeah, but so did we. I need us to know that. And yeah, the majority spirit is broken because when you force fed only bits and pieces of something and then you have to fill in the blank, if everybody fills in the blank differently, it creates mental chaos. We got a lot of arguments for no reason. The point is, we were already here. Yes, not in large scale, but it did happen, Deidre. I get it. You know, the point is, it wasn't a foreign concept to us either. We just, we made less of a footprint because we didn't go around just, destroying everything. So let's see this link. Okay.
Well, I was telling
Oh,
what's his
that
name?
was you
Mafa.
and Mappa. Okay, yeah.
Yes, but you maybe my train of thought real quick. Damn, what's that?
Well, no, I was just saying that we were still here, but we weren't going around destroying things. So I don't know if you was getting ready to respond to me or if you had
Yes,
a new. Okay.
I was Lucy, the oldest human remains were found in Africa. Black people always been. And when you start looking at, you know what I'm saying, the tectonic plates and how all the continents actually were one land mass and then we separated out, of course we were always here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know where our people are so lost. And they tell you everything. They literally tell you everything. They've told you about these remains. They told you in earth science when we were very, very young, oh, all the whole world was together. But see, that ties into that whole religious principle, and then people, have their problems with centralized religion as it stands. But when you start looking into spirituality and like world religions and how the stories are all interconnected, it is
Yep.
highly improbable that across every single religion, certain stories would be centralized and they would be exactly the same. Historical artifacts would be exactly the same. When you look at the pyramids, they cut off the nose of the Sphinx because the nose of the Sphinx look like African Americans today, and they didn't want you to have that connection to something so tangible that has withheld the test of times. Like, know your history, know who you are. Put down the reality TV and the nonsense.
Right. And here's the thing, right? Um, wait a minute, what is this show? Oh yeah, yeah, no, I see that. Okay, and here's the thing. If there's something that you could look at and explain something different than what they're saying. See, they have come together, and in order for you to make a decision to deface, property that was already built by somebody else, that's the same thing that's exactly what they're doing for their lives that we don't do. They're the cotton industry and we're him, right? They're saying we need to take this down so that they won't know. And that way we get to protect our lives. And I feel like if they can't find a way to protect themselves without harming us, then they don't get to anymore. They lose the right, they lose the privilege. And that's the thought process I want people to understand. Require more. Require your existence. And sometimes I get told that I say things that don't. Does that make sense, Robbie? You get where I'm
It
coming
makes
from with
yes,
this?
it makes sense to me. And I want to add to that and say, remember, this land that you're castigated in, you built.
Mm-hmm.
Every brick, every piece of steel that lines every railway, every piece of cotton that has been turned into clothing, every piece of tobacco, every piece of tea. It came from our ancestors. We did that. They started being super mad with us when they couldn't make us work for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was literally watching. I got to figure out what that show was on Netflix, but it was like a documentary, and they were talking about how black people are not actually lazy. It was the first right of refusal. Here's another thing. When we start talking about, you know what? Let's go to the next one because I already got something I'm gonna
Yeah,
say,
we
right?
could go here.
Yeah, because I see it's for the bleed into that. Okay, so I was watching this documentary and they were talking about like recent slavery that's been happening over on the continent itself, right?
Hmm.
So they were talking about how the overseers were saying that black people were lazy, but it wasn't actually lazy. It was a form of resistance. It was nonviolent resistance. They just were refusing to do it because everything they were being asked to do, part of this slavery, was against their belief system of their culture. They were being required to chop down trees when they, as a culture, don't practice that. They let the tree grow and grow, right? They are committed to its health, so therefore, right, it wasn't laziness, it was just nonviolent resistance. And so we as a people, we're not naturally violent. Otherwise, we would have came up with the idea to go around terrorizing countries and stuff. before they did. And I gotta say, I don't want this to come off like I hate, Caucasian people, because I don't. I just understand it, and I'm talking more matter of fact of what I see, what the history was. Okay, if they are offended by that, then they need to change that in terms of their current and their future. So, with that being said, I'm not racist. What I am saying is I know what I see. And so we are not a naturally lending to violent culture. So how is it that we got that reputation for not doing something that somebody else wanted us to do? If you have friends in your environment that act like that, right? You have to be their clone in order to be considered a good person by them. You can never disagree. Imagine what that's like on a large scale. That's essentially what we're seeing. We're seeing our reputation being smeared because we said no. And then, like MOT was talking about earlier, then the hostile takeover starts. It's the same. It's the same thing, just in a different area. So, how do we solve it? Well, the answer's already out there. But who knows where to look and what to use to get that answer? And that's what I'm hoping the stream will do today is get people thinking and understand that it is possible because it's happened in other life areas. It just hasn't happened in our interactions with the majority culture. Right, you got anything you want to add?
Yeah, stop being scared. Black people, stop
Yeah.
being scared. Stop being scared because, like how Topa said, as soon as you're talking about a matter of fact, a point in history, and you're bringing up a topic of white supremacy, or you're bringing up a topic of, race relations, or what Black people have gone through, automatically you're some extreme militant or you're a ridiculous reprobate racist. And they do that as a scare tactic so we
Right.
can't get together and talk about solutions to maintain our own power. And let us never forget Black Wall Street. Let us never forget that one white woman lied on a Black boy, and on her deathbed she admitted to that lie. She received
Hmm.
no penalties, and a whole entire city that was circling the black dollar 100 times within itself was annihilated from the planet. That
Right.
part.
Right. And here's another thing. Keep that same energy. Like if you're gonna call me racist, first of all, I got several white friends, so I can't be racist. Okay. And that's a little sarcasm. And then second of all, if you're gonna say that I'm racist for thinking about my future as a member of a culture, you got one or two options, right? You want to tell me you don't see color, then make a world where color is not necessary. But if you're gonna keep dividing amongst color of skin, because it's the easiest thing to see, to it's the easiest thing to separate on, right? It's possible you can do so even at birth. It's the only thing that exists that way. So stop dividing along lines like that, right? Or either B, then you need to call out your ancestors for being racist. Those are your options. Otherwise, at least to speak to me and people who think like me. Otherwise, we have nothing else left to talk about because you're not a person that's using logic. Okay, so Rob B stepped away a little bit. Let me just explain what we're talking about, right? So black love, how to reach it. When I'm saying black love, I know most people think of relationships, but honestly, what I'm thinking about is yourself, right? How to appreciate being black. If the last topic was about us being handed down incorrect information, what would be the truth? And one of the things that I think we should be proud of is that we are a culture that believes in naturally, without anything interfering, without anything acting on our judgment and our values and our belief system. We are a culture that isn't very violent. We're a culture of nurturing. We tend to the earth, learn it, right? Because that's a skill. We learn the earth and its responses and its needs, and then we find a way to do that without destroying it. Think about the things that were invented by black people versus non-black people, right? The things that we invented had to do with cultivating what was already here. It wasn't anything that's creating pollution. We didn't do all of that. I don't think we did the internet. I don't think we did um, you know, the emissions in cars, like all of the stuff that's considered to be toxic and choking the planet. We didn't do that because that's not on our mind. When we look at a problem, we look at it and try to figure out what is it that we're getting wrong. And this is us from the beginning if we were never ever introduced to certain things. When we look at our core, we don't look at a way to destroy something. We look at a way to make something efficient, yes, but never, like, we haven't created things that destroy. Everything that, like, even drugs, we didn't create those. We used what was already here on the planet. So I'm just curious, does anybody in the chat feel any differently? Any pushback for that? Because that's the part that we don't get told. And if you recognize that, there's a lot of people on here that say know who you are, but they don't really talk to you about what that means to know who you are. What are our personality traits at our core when nothing is acting on us, right? That's we're not violent. We cultivate, we nurture, and that's why we end up like, but you also have to understand that's why we end up accepting people from other cultures that have been kicked out of theirs. We give second chances. We pride ourselves on understanding and patience when we're not forced into poverty, when we're not being, hunted down and subjugated. When things are going well, we relax and chill, and we work, and we go back to chilling. All of this other stuff that comes out, that wasn't us. And it's okay to feel pride about that. My hope is that after talking about this subject, a lot more Black people walk around with appropriate posture, shoulders back, head up. Why? Because what are we hanging our heads for? That was taught to us. That's not what we are supposed to be doing. And when we can do that, then we can find a reason to protect ourselves and our future and our right. It's almost like a lot of people feel like Black people don't have a right to exist. They may not say it. They may not be able to put that into words. They may not know that that's at the core of their beliefs and their viewpoints of being Black versus and also interacting with other Black people. They may not know that, but it truly is. Because anything that has you hanging your head is something of shame. So after we finish with this topic, we're going to talk about current events, both worldwide as well as domestic, and then I'm going to open up the panel while we're talking about those current events. So, Robbie, you here?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry, I had
Okay,
to
so how
go
do
to
you feel? That's okay. I just wanted to make sure you had taken care of everything. I didn't know you had came back. So how much did you hear? How do you feel about what I said?
I completely agree. Honestly, I've been saying this for a little while. Black people are the loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
When somebody commits a crime, when you're watching one of those movies like with a shady drug deal or something going wrong, and then they're like, oh, we got to go back and tie up loose ends.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get rid of us. But at the same token, they're in a juxtaposition because, like I said before, we built this land. So I don't want to say they don't know how to,
Right.
but
I will. I'll say it. They don't know how to because they never tried to learn how to do it because they just figured, oh, well, y'all already doing it, so then we'll just make y'all do it for us. It's
right.
actually mentally laziness. If that ain't lazy, I don't know what is. It's both physically and mentally lazy because you didn't even pay attention to what the people were doing so that you could practice and learn it. You just figured, oh, well, you already doing it. I ain't got to learn nothing. So there's the absence of that knowledge. So you're right. They can't get rid of us. Can you imagine this world if there were no Black people cultivating and nurturing things? We go behind other cultures and do it anyway. People have noticed that. So if they
Period.
can literally sit there and say, "Oh well, we don't have to do it because somebody Black will come by and they'll do it, they'll fix it," that means they know we're not lazy and they know that we're smart. They just refuse to acknowledge it. They refuse to say it.
How
And
about
I
we
mean
could
in mass.
take
I'm not talking about the individual certain groups of people in other cultures that have come to that realization. And I do believe some of them are genuine. And why? Because it's the truth. You can't, if you, okay, here's the thing. If we as Black people realize that being Black is a good thing because of who we are, who we naturally are, that would be the truth. How long are you able to fight the truth? So I do believe when people come to the realization, they start saying good things about Black people. I do believe they're telling the truth because it is the truth. I believe they're genuine because life tends toward you accepting the truth. And if the truth is that we're good people, why? How do you feel like a person could not be genuine when they come to that realization? The fact that it comes out of their mouth is enough. Well, I'm not trying to go into their brain. I'm not trying to have telepathy to figure out if they really mean it. Doesn't matter if they mean it. Something came along where they were forced to say it. And if they say it out loud, more people will hear it. And it's not just us being the ones saying it. You're hearing it from us plus other people. So it still helps. It still matters.
Exactly. I really do agree, but let me take it somewhere deeper. Even
Okay.
when it comes down to the raising of their children. The
Mm-hmm.
reason that black people, in my opinion, my humble opinion, are so quick to want to kick their kids out the house is because they have spent their life raising their children and other people's children. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't get that downtime. It's not like peaceful and like, oh, Bobby and Susie, let's watch a movie. They're just constantly dealing with the stress portion of it. And people might say, oh, well, it's not slavery time, so that's not true. And then I would implore you to look at daycares, after
Mm-hmm.
school programs, schools. It's all left on black people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if you notice, other cultures, they are very, very much more harsh on mistakes. They're willing to throw you away if you make a
Yes.
mistake. Some things you can't come back from. We don't do that to our people. And what does that mean? It means that we recognize that a person who made a mistake can learn from that mistake and they can change and then they can be part of the assistance and the solution. So to me, I'm not against us adopting other people from other cultures that have been kicked out. My thing is be wise about doing so. They need to be able to contribute. They need to show some usefulness. You can't just accept people just because if they are never required to change or understand what they did wrong, they're going to come over here and do it in our culture as well. And that's what's been happening. Is that when they come over here, they aren't getting a second chance. There's it's more the same of what they got kicked out of their culture for doing. And now we're saying that we accept that. No. No, no. If you need a place to belong, you need to earn that belonging because you weren't born here. So you need to do something that says that you earned a place of acceptance because you lost the first one. The one you were born into, you lost that with whatever mistake you made. So to get into a new group, you need to earn it now. And I think that will bring along the appropriate and the required humility and commitment to change that's necessary.
But the funny thing about that is America is built off of the cast offs, people that were cast out of the United
Hmm.
Kingdom.
Okay, so you feel like they were thrown out because I feel like they left because of hubris. They didn't want to.
Mm.
They didn't want to follow. They didn't want to follow the monarchy. They didn't want to be subjugated to second class citizens anymore. So they wanted to go to a place because look at what they say: "Give us your tired, your hungry, all of that." That's all of the people that are subjugated where they are. They can come over here, but then the American dream was supposed to be for you to work towards being able to have, the good things that you were not given in the old country. So I don't know if I feel like they were thrown away. I feel like they left with hubris, and then the thrown away do come over here because it's a second chance. But I don't think that's why. Like, what do you think? What do you think about what I'm
Well,
saying?
I do get what you're saying, but I think that that give us your tired, you're hungry, and you're poor comes from the indentured servitude because a lot of people don't recognize that white people were slaves not in the same way that African American people were because they
Yeah, it
were
wasn't
able.
chattel slavery. It was indentured servitude, like debt slavery.
Right. So I think that that's where the give us your tired, you're hungry, you're poor come from because people were, people of wealth. They didn't want to get along. That's why I said kicked out. Like they didn't want to get along with the powers that be. So they had to go on ahead and go. So they put them on the ship, said,
Okay,
hey, if you make it somewhere, live your best life. And then they had
right.
people working for them that they brought with them that were poor and couldn't afford the passage. So
Well, they could have
that
stayed and just put up with it. So that's why I say they chose, is because there is always an option to choose. Now, were they being treated unfairly? Sure, but they could have stayed and put up with it like we did here, within reason, right? I'm just making a comparison. So they could have, that was one choice, but they didn't want to take that choice. They weren't rounded up and put on the boat and shipped off. They chose to get on the boat and bring other people with them with a promise of you work for me when we get there.
Exactly, I agree.
Okay. Any other things you want to say about like black love? How do we learn to appreciate? Because here's the thing, you can't change your race and your ethnicity, right? No matter where you go, it's going to remain constant. So the best way to live life is when you are able to find some appreciation in it. You don't like the other avenue to be something different is cut off. Okay? It is not possible. So you have to find some way to wake up every day proud of who you are. So you have any advice, things that people can focus on?
Yeah, I mean, it ultimately boils down to this. My slogan is fly free because it's a privilege. Hold on one second,
Hmm.
please. I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem. See, this is what it's like when you have a family. It's fun. It has noise sometimes, and then there are solutions. I love that. I'm sorry, I do. So anyway, the
Yeah,
point
I'm
is,
back. Oh,
oh yeah, go ahead, Robbie.
thank you. My slogan is fly free because it's a privilege because it is one. You are not bound by the skin you're in. You don't let
Hmm.
people tell you that you're not black enough because you don't want to stay on a low vibration. It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if people think you're better than them or that you think you're better because you're self educating. You know what I'm saying? Because you have dreams and aspirations. Hold on to them. Because if no one holds on to their aspirations, we're just going to have more of the same. And we cannot afford another 2 decades. We cannot afford another century. We cannot afford another
We can't
millennia.
afford another 2 days.
That
Like
part.
we can't afford it at all. We're already overdrawn.
Exactly. We cannot afford to keep going along to get along to make other people comfortable being in the slums. Like, people are too comfortable in our community on
Hmm.
public assistance, housing, like all those. No, work hard for what you want because the people that are in power above us, yes, the statistics show that a greater number of them are on the system than us. That's facts. But when you look at the population of them and then you look at that number, it is a great disparity. We need to start making our numbers have that type of disparity. Don't, if you're on public assistance right now, more power to you, ain't nothing wrong with it. But strive to make sure that your children don't feel the need to be a slave to that system.
Yeah,
It's
because
not too late.
and people don't talk about like the people that want to big up being on assistance, they don't talk about what it's actually like. Okay, as somebody that did use that when I first became grown with a newborn still in college working 40 hours and still needed assistance, right? First of all, that's not fun. And then to have all your choices you know, raked over with a fine-tooth comb by somebody who's barely doing any better than you, and they're following laws put in place with somebody they've never even met, haven't laid eyes on. That is not a fun place to be, or at least it wasn't for me. So all the partying or whatever you get to do during the week while other people are working, I'm sorry. I needed my own money so that nobody could tell me what to do with it. If I'm telling my parents I pay these bills, I'm going to tell the government I pay these bills. Like if I can do that to my parents, I'm definitely going to be telling the government that to get out my business. And I did type in the chat, we can't stay low vibrational, right? Like when Robbie was saying it. It's a privilege, but it's also a duty, a responsibility, in my opinion. Here's the thing, we can't afford it, like what Robbie was saying. We can't afford to stay, we don't have time to stay low vibrational. And two, when you wake up and realize what it actually truly means to be black, minus all of the propaganda that has been forced down your throat, it's impossible to stay low vibrational. But guess what? When you start vibrating higher, it gets uncomfortable. And you got to be willing and have the drive and the willpower to see through all of that and understand how to use that high vibration to your advantage and to the advantage of your descendants and your culture. You got to understand how to hone in and use that high vibration. But it's uncomfortable initially, but once you get the hang of it, it'll be one more thing that you've mastered, and at that moment you then literally create your own destiny. And that's something that people want, but you got to be willing to go through the uncomfortableness to get there. If you can just see that through with everything else that you're doing that's uncomfortable, this is just a different uncomfortable, but you've been through that already. You already know. You have the capability. So it's impossible when you recognize what being black is for you to still do certain things. You'll find that you can't bring yourself to do certain stuff. And that's what I want people to understand.
Amen. You better say that. All of that.
You will see, listen, and that's why I have your pinned comment about your channel is because you over there and you are helping wake people up. You are letting them know.
Well, thank you, darling. I mean, I'll be chilling.
Just a little something slight, just a little something slight. I do a little. So humble, but that's why I'm bragging on it. You don't have to do it. I'll do it, right? Okay, so now let's go to let's do domestic first, right? Current events domestic. So things that have been going on here recently. I know there was a 1-year-old little black boy who was shot in the head by police during a the attempt to. Here's the thing: they were trying to get the mother safe because the guy was robbing her. This was a woman that had her child. He was in a car seat. She was breaking no laws. She stopped to get gas, right? And a guy decided to try to take her car. The police chased him and they got to him and they shot him, and the officer is saying that he didn't know that there was a baby in the car. Okay. The bullet went through the robber and hit the baby in the head. Now he's in critical condition. He's still alive. Thank God. But this is a thing that we need to pay attention to. I feel like the police were reckless. Okay. So that's something I want you guys to go and look that story up and see how you feel about it and what do you think should be the solution? What do you think should happen next? Well, thanks, Emmanuel. I'm trying, like, look, I'm putting in my bid. I'm gonna put up a GoFundMe for campaign expenses. And y'all just need to donate so we can get some change around here. Okay? I'm working on it. Robbie, you up for being vice president? Because I'm gonna pick me first. I mean, I just gotta do it.
Hey, listen, I'd rather be the Secretary of Defense. I'm shy. I'm shy. I like to be.
Exactly. But you know what? You got to break out of that, Robbie. You got to fly free because it's possible, right?
Yes, it is.
Yes. I'm gonna use your own motto against you. You got to fly, all right, Robbie. Now stop acting
Listen,
like that.
I am flying. I am flying. I'm just, I'm one of them baby birds. Like when they first get pushed out the nest, honey, they flap their wings a little bit. They be like, "Oh, all right, now I'm gonna go back." I'm trying to get to my
Exactly.
ego level.
Yeah, and you know what? And listen, I'm a pusher, all right? So I will push you to that. I cannot not, right? I have to do it. Anybody in my life knows I have to do it. I'm gonna be pushing you to do stuff. All right. I don't know why I'm made like this. Take that up with the Lord, but that's what it is. It's me knowing me.
I'm with it. It's all right. I love it.
At least I'm telling you up front, right? At least I'm admitting it. At least I'm telling you up front, you know. So okay. Any stories that you've heard recently?
Oh, child, the Indiana man charged with killing four after the stimulus payment argument.
Yes, are you serious? Yes, that's one of us. Like, so I don't know if you guys have heard that story, but do look it up, right? This guy, he killed a family because he wanted stimulus money that was given to the mother of his child. So tell us all
He
what you know about this story.
Okay, so Malik Halfar is 25 years old. He is facing
Mm.
4 counts of murder because he killed Anthony Johnson, 35, Daquan Moore,
Oh, you got the
23.
details. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening.
Yes, Tamika Brown, 44, and 7-year-old Eve Moore because he wanted his portion of the COVID-19 relief money. Baby, he said, my daughter's in that house, so you get money for her and you need to give me money. Now, I'm trying to figure out like if he was even current on his child support, had he been interacting with his child or anything like that's ooh, let me breathe because this story
Right,
just it really makes me so mad. But he's gonna face the death penalty. Like there ain't gonna be no crime of passion, temporary insanity. None of that is gonna fly in this case. And
right.
This brings me to a serious note. Hey, Chef Disaster with the African American community. Black men, I know some of you feel subjugated and vilified by child support, and you harbor some resentments because you think that the mother of your children is having this easy peasy life because she's getting public assistance and child support. But please, brothers, please, if it is that deep, go to court and file for joint shared physical custody so you don't
Yep.
have to pay child support. Please don't ever let it get to a place where you finna kill the mother of your child, her boyfriend, his friends, and your kid for $700.
Okay, so that was my initial thought, but then I realized because somebody else had read the story in its entirety too, and they said that she was getting much. So first of all, she had two kids, so that's like 1,400. Then hers was 56 plus her tax refund because I think she had a job where she wasn't making a whole lot of money, so she got tax refunds. So it was
Mm-hmm.
more than $700. I will give you that, but it's still a dollar amount. Your freedom was now worth that dollar amount that you are never going to see. And even if you did get to keep it, when you get out, it's going to be worth so much less. It's not worth it.
But catch
Your life
this.
should be worth more. It should be infinitely worth more to where this is not even a thought that comes across your mind. This guy didn't care about his daily life. He didn't care about waking up every day in freedom. Go ahead,
Yep.
Robbie. I'm sorry.
No, no, but he left. He left with their 6 month old. So you
Mm-hmm.
killed everybody except for the 6 month old, and then you took her. Now, see, here's
Right.
here's the thing. I'm like, if you were gonna kill everybody, I'm glad he did not kill that 6 month old child.
Right.
But as that baby grows up, now how does she reconcile her reality with the world around her
Yeah, she lives with the sentence. My father killed my older sister.
and my
What do
mama?
you think that? Yeah, well, no, the mom is alive, right?
She did. I
The
think.
mom. Oh wow. Okay, so like the
Yeah, the
aunt
mom is dead. The baby, whatever, her boyfriend or whoever, whatever one of his relatives, and the 7 year old sister is dead. He went to his sister's house with the daughter.
and two of her uncles too, right? Because I can tell you right now, as a girl, if my uncles and my dad is locked up, my uncles are dead because of him. My mom is dead. This little girl is going to need some protection in life, and all of the times, like all of the men that I hear that are talking about women need to get protection from their family, she literally had hers taken away now. Through like she's 6 month old and did nothing, and her protection that's inherent is gone. So yes, the community needs to envelop this baby, and I don't care who gets mad.
Right. And I want to make it clear I'm not trying to understand from the murderer's perspective. I'm trying to make some sense of what the baby's life will
Right.
be. And I'm trying to imbibe that into the consciousness of Black men in the community. You don't have to murder someone. You
Right.
can go through legal proceedings to get revenge or get justice against someone. It does not have to be a murder because the reality is, anytime there is a crime where someone is shot and murdered, you're killing someone's child, you're killing someone's parent, you're killing someone's aunt, their uncle, their sibling, whatever. You're causing cataclysmic rips in family structures. And again, this is another layer on why we find it hard to love ourselves. It's hard to love yourself when the people that are supposed to pour love into you from the moment you take your first breath until you take your last are taken away from you.
Mm-hmm. And here's the thing. So Amenti, she has a point. Like there's certain black men, they don't care, they don't hear us. But here's the thing: them not caring or not hearing me or not listening or whatever, that don't make me stop talking. I'm not like they can feel and think whatever they want to, but they're gonna hear it. They're gonna hear it. And like I was saying earlier, when you're confronted with the truth, it's hard for you to resist that. Life has a way of making sure you internalize that truth. So I'm not gonna let them not listening stop me from saying what I want to say because I'm grown. So we need, as a culture, we need to use the sentence "I'm grown" behind something that's helpful sometimes. So I get it. There are a lot of people that feel like I don't want to do it no more, and that's okay, right? Because I still got the energy. Some people are fed up. and they don't want to say it anymore. But I still got the energy, and while I got it, I'm gonna use it. And then when I run out of energy, hopefully there's somebody else who can pick up the slack. Like a baton in a race. So I get it. This is a place where I want y'all to feel comfortable typing. I want y'all to feel comfortable commenting, and I would just explain my position.
Right.
But go
And
ahead, Robbie.
I also need for sisters to stop just saying what black men won't do, what they won't hear, what they're not capable of. Oh well, black men ain't No, that's a group, a subsection. That's not all black men. And we need to be very mindful of how we are talking about our brothers, because that feeds into the global narrative of their overall disrespect. And I get it, because I've been there. I done dealt with some black dudes that make me want to be like, you know what? I'm giving high ones to every black dude that comes in my face. But the reality is that is also a tool used to keep us completely separated and alienated from one another, and to keep the black family divided, and to keep the black community in a state of disarray.
Hmm. Exactly. And you're right, Bap. That's the thing. If I can get one person, then it wasn't in vain. So, okay. So, anyway, the point for all of this, right? What do we learn from this story? So I'm being told, like, the part of the people that were interviewed from the family that he massacred, and I'm gonna use that word because he left. He came the day before in the story. He came the day before and said he wanted the money, and she was like, no, like she should have done. Because here's the thing, I want us as a culture to stop babying and coddling people who are lazy, who don't want to do anything. This guy did nothing to help himself, his family, or his community. So no, she was supposed to tell him no, right? And I'm proud of her for saying that, because she was already afraid of him. So that took courage for her to say no. And this guy was known to have a violent streak, right? So her courage told him no. And then he left after he talked to her about it at first, and he came back after he planned and brought a gun. He was going to shoot somebody. He already knew the answer. Okay? This was premeditated. And that means we need to be proud of her for saying no to him. We do. Because by her saying no, the thing that keeps a lot of men lazy is when they find a woman willing to support and condone it. So therefore, when she told him no, it was appropriate, and she did the right thing. I actually
Well,
heard somebody I was just at the store. I heard somebody talking about the story. They said she should have just gave him the money, and then those people would be alive. And you don't think he was gonna come back for the other half?
wait, hold tight. She should have called the police, because she had restraining orders against him.
Well, she left after he showed up there, right? Now, here's the thing. I feel like she knew that he was going to come back. Now, I'm not holding her accountable for that, because at the end of the day, he made a choice. He could have not come back with a gun, right? So it's him. It's him and him alone. But if she knew, she ran when he got there and called the police, and that's how they caught him. But her having a restraining order, you know, is the police gonna show up if he already left?
Well, that's true,
So
but this is the thing. We need to update that restraining order system too, because according to this article in
right,
ABC News Go, it says at the time of the shootings, Halfairs was the subject of a restraining order barring him from having contact with the ex-girlfriend or visiting the home where the shooting occurred, according to court documents. Now, it
right,
makes me wonder if he felt so comfortable to walk into her home and be in her purse, because he was in her purse. Like, in
yeah,
order for you to kind of know where somebody generally keeps their purse, that means you have to be there often. Was that the first
mm-hmm.
time that he violated the restraining order? And that goes back to what you were saying about not coddling people. If you violate a restraining order with me one time, baby, I don't give a damn. I'm calling the police while you. As soon as I see you, oh 911, I have a restraining order. Somebody's knocking at my door,
Well,
and you know,
here's what we need to learn from this story, right? Because I can tell you what, if you get a restraining order on somebody, if they're not actively at the property to be arrested and they already left, Yeah, the police is going to go question them and they're going to reinforce, they might even arrest them. But what's happening is that there's a gap in between the time where the police are like, I think that if somebody has a restraining order, there needs to be somebody monitoring that home, or either the individual that is the subject of the restraining order. We can't afford to just let people, do whatever they want. If this is a guy that already makes his living by not following laws, what makes you think he's going to respect that restraining order? But when the police show up, they tell you they can't do anything unless he's done something. So our laws need to catch up to human behavior.
Exactly, because I tell you what, it's these judges, because these judges don't really care. They just want to be able to have a paper trail to say, well, we tried.
Right. But see, and then the judges need to require a paper trail to say, how did you try hard enough? Right? They need to have
Exactly.
somebody out there watching this guy, because he's obviously a person that doesn't respect laws. He don't care about that piece of paper. And that's what it gets reduced to if the guys still show up. And if the police aren't willing to show up and say, hey, like, I know you already went there, I no, you were even in the area, Nick. I saw you pull up to this stop sign and think like you wanted to go into that neighborhood and you ain't supposed to be over there. Like, I need our police to get serious about the things that matter. So I'm not blaming her whether she called the cops or not. I'm saying that the cops, if I were in charge of the police union, they would be doing a whole lot more to prevent this kind of thing from even happening in the first place. They would have been on him until, like, and stay on him until you can see him having something to live for. Because if you saw him still just loafing around when he heard about this stimulus, it should have been somebody out there right then when it was announced. It should have been somebody out of his house. Look, she getting a stimulus, and don't you go over there. Don't play with me. That's the kind of cops I need.
Exactly. But I mean, this whole story is really tragic. But I 125 million% agree with Beth. And ladies, if you don't
Hmm.
have a permit, if you don't live in a state where you can buy a gun without a permit, get your permit, get your gun, hide your kids, hide your wife, go to the gun range, learn how to shoot with precision, do like these
Hmm.
people be doing, get you some Call of Duty or sniper games so you can practice your aiming and your shooting so you can be kind of familiar. It's not going to be the same as when you shoot a real gun, but it will give you some
Hmm.
familiarity with munitions and weapons. Learn how to shoot someone. Damn that paper, I'm gonna shoot you.
And here's another thing I want us to do, right? Um, okay, hold on. First, let me deal with Doug. He says there's not enough cops to monitor every restraining order. But if they're putting more money into the police union, they're asking for more funding and they're hiring more cops or whatever. Look, if I'm gonna pay taxes, yeah, I will pay for that if they're doing it in such a way that I can feel safe. So yeah, there may not be right now, but then that's something that needs to be dealt with. So I get it. I get you, but here's the thing. That's not no, that's not enough. I'm tired of them just saying we don't have enough manpower. I don't care. Get some more manpower. Do what you need to do. Stop asking me to pay taxes on you going overseas to do a bunch of other stuff that don't have nothing to do with you, but you putting some money into what's going on here right now. And Beautiful Soul says, this coming from someone who has had a restraining order on an ex. I have too. I've had a restraining order on an ex, and he literally sat down the street, ducked off, and waited until the police left. I called the cops, my neighbors called the cops. It didn't matter. He was hiding, literally finding a way to still come to my house when everybody was asleep, when he would not be detected, which is even more dangerous than him trying to do it in a day. So yeah, and you do need to get your gun and all of that. We as a people, what I was initially going to say is we as a people can't be afraid of going to jail anymore, because some laws are meant to be broken. And let's say you had a law that used to work and now human behavior has adapted, then you need to update that law, which means the first people to cross that bridge, when they get into court and they get their day in court, they need to say how the law failed them and what needs to be updated. We need to use our voices, and we as a community need to support people who go to jail for reasons like that. We can't write everybody off that has a background until we know what that background was. And it's a lot of work, yes, but what else you got to do as an adult? Okay, if you just want to free up time so you could chill and chase sex and all of that kind of stuff, you're not doing anything appropriate. we as an adult have a duty and a responsibility to make this world what we think it should be. Okay,
And
so that's more important.
And another thing that you can do to protect yourself is when someone is sending you threatening text messages. People keep all type of screenshots in their phone of like memes and little nonsense. Keep you a folder of, you know what I'm saying, every single communication that someone is being disrespectful or threatening to you. Keep photographs of what someone is doing to you. If you have bruises and whatever, just in case you have to bust a cap or somebody ass, keep a record. And when
Mm-hmm.
you get arrested, do yourself a service. Do not speak to the police. Get
Mm-hmm.
a paid attorney. And I think that's where a lot of black people, a lot of the crimes that black people are convicted of are ridiculous. And it's all because of a self admission. You have
Mm-hmm.
the right to remain silent for a reason. I don't give a damn how nice these cops are being to you. Oh, hey, Charlie, you want a glass of water? Oh, yeah, let's talk about it. Oh, yeah, I know you're arrested. You want to go
Understand that's a
outside?
tactic. That is a
Right.
tactic. They do it on purpose to get you off your game. Okay, if the nicer they are, okay, thank you, and that's it. We still
Exactly.
get a lawyer. We still going to trial. Sorry.
And these public pretenders, you better understand,
Mm-hmm.
they're not your defense. They're paid by the same place that the prosecutor is paid by. Their caseloads are overworked, so they're not looking for the nuanced ways to get you out of an arraignment or a conviction.
They are legally allowed to lie to you, and they can go in court and say, I lied because I wanted to earn this person's trust, and this is what they shared after they believed the lie. When this person believed that I was on their side, they literally can say this sentence in court. When this person believed that I was on his side or her side, they told me the following. It's not
Yep.
privileged information, but your lawyer's communication with you is. So I'm putting this out there is that we need to require more. Yeah, that used to be called entrapment, but here's the thing. Yeah, you lying, you get to. You are allowed to lie to people. Okay? Entrapment, I think, is when they put things in place to where you have no choice but to commit the crime, right? Like they force you into a corner is my understanding of it. So anybody with a legal or political science or whatever, anybody with that kind of knowledge, let me know, because that's my understanding is entrapment is when they force you into a corner where you have no option but to commit said crime, and then but them lying to you, you still have a choice whether you could care or not.
Right.
So Jay Shine, let me know if I got that right. But so let's go to some any other stories that have been going on. Like so, there's the guy that shot up the family. How about this? How about this guy that shot like he just woke up one day and chose violence? He went around to local massage parlors shooting Asian women. And I'm
Yeah.
bringing it up. And I'm bringing it up because for once we weren't the victim and we weren't the perpetrator.
Listen,
Stuff happens outside our community. We ain't the one that did that.
but what do you mean? Because all violence in America is black on black crimes. What do you mean?
I know, like maybe he got like, 10% black in him or something that we got to search through and make up documents and whatnot. But hey, I just want to put this out there. What he looks like though, that's not one of ours. Brent really, and see, Brandon has been on one lately on his channel. I think a lot of people be sleeping on Brandon's uploads, right? Because he did post that the story about the guy, and he was like, because the Asian men didn't go out there in mass looking for this guy or trying to no, they didn't care about these women. They didn't, because these are not the good Asian women that they like to put out there. These are the Asian women that are only even in this field because they didn't have somebody taking care of them. So they don't care. The Asian men didn't care about this. And that's a good point.
Girl.
Is because see, we as black culture, we don't do all of that.
Well, hold tight though, because you got oh see, fuck it, I'm gonna say it. You got all these
Go ahead.
black dudes that be out here caping for these Asian women, how they're so dominant. I mean, how they're so subservient. How, oh, we should divest from black women and go be with the Asians. So where even are the black men that be caping for the Asian women? Why you not out here? You know what I'm saying? Trying to get some retribution. I'm confused.
Right. Oh yeah, I did say I was gonna drop the link when we started talking about the stories. Now mind y'all, this is not gonna be a long live because I feel like it's pretty heavy, and I don't like to do heavy topics for very long. But if y'all got something y'all want to share, go ahead. Yeah, exactly, beautiful soul. That's why I'm bringing it up, right? And that's why I like Brandon's channel because he does bring it up.
Hmm. Child, listen, it's a travesty nonetheless. But you know,
Look at Emmanuel coming. He had already been shooting people. See, here's the thing. Other cultures get taken in alive, they survive their time, and then they get out and they continue to do it. But we get put to death and have the book thrown at us because people who get out are more likely to commit more crimes. But that wasn't us because we don't get to be the people that come out alive. Okay? That's
but
somebody else.
that's
Go
the
ahead,
difference
Robbie.
between a paid attorney and a public defender.
True. True. Absolutely. Which is why here's the thing. If we want to change the laws, we A can't be afraid to go to jail, and B, we got to get our money up. Okay? We can't still live in poverty because we need to be able to get somebody that wants that cares about the legal system and their win streak, right? So that they will do their best because it matters to them to get some type of win, and you're paying them. When you have special interest groups, when you have money to hire actual attorneys and not just get public defenders, life changes for you. And we see that. We see that in the other culture. So what's our hesitation on getting our money up to do exactly just that? I don't understand the barrier. Like, what's stopping us from doing that? Now, that's just me being facetious because I do understand the barrier, right? Lack of self love. But I'm saying to y'all to get the thought process started. What is the barrier to doing that? If you got a problem with the child support system, what is the barrier to getting your money up, hiring some lawyer that wants to win, right? That actually cares about this issue. Yeah, look at this. Because their culture is taking care of him. He can't work a regular job anymore, but their culture is still taking care of him with this GoFundMe.
I'm annoyed. I'm annoyed right now. Real
Yeah, but our
quick.
people don't set up like if we set up GoFundMe's for somebody that just got out of jail because they were doing something righteous, how many people gonna pay for that? Because we get
Nobody.
told just keep your head down and go to work because I ain't got no money and I can't be giving you my money. So go there and don't act crazy, don't get arrested, and if you do, I'm gonna justify it so that I don't have to pay you anything.
So let's talk about though how that incident has started a stop
Yep.
AAPI hate Asian and Pacific Island Americans bill. Right now, this bill is set to address a rise in hate incidents directed at Asian Americans amid coronavirus pandemic. But my
Hmm.
thing is, where was the bill? Where was the bill for all of the black people that were shot by police officers on duty? That's that money.
Exactly.
I'm what? They gonna oh see, mm-mm.
Hmm.
Oh child. They be playing in our faces. They don't even be playing in our faces. They just let you know, yeah, we see y'all. We see your struggle, but we don't care. If y'all don't
Yeah,
care, we don't
basically it's
care.
like so. It's one word. Like they don't even waste a whole lot of words. It's so with the head to the side. Like what I mean, what you want me to do about it? And essentially they're right because it is our job. We can't make other people care. That is us hoping for something, right? If we want to be active, we have to care and put our money where our mouth is. That's why I don't go to protests anymore. There's a time in my life where I did used to go to the protests. You know, I felt like that was me giving back, but then I realized that I would rather something else happen. So I'm trying to get my money up. I'm trying to be a business in the community that is designed to help black people feel better, right? And then if I get additional money, I'll be able to do some things that I feel like is necessary. I haven't gotten the money yet, but when I get it, that's going to be the point of it.
Exactly.
Jay Sean says, how about the bill protecting black people from citizen vigilantes? Yeah. I mean, is there one out there? Because I gotta say, I don't know about it, and I would love for you to illuminate that idea. I would love for you to educate me on this, Jay Sean. But is there one? Because there needs to be. And oh, we were talking about that earlier, Complex. So yeah, if y'all go to Complex channel, he talks about this regularly, like how you can use the industry for good.
But this is the thing. We too busy fighting each other. We too busy hating on each other. We too busy worried about the next pair of Jordans, Tims, whatever. We too busy worried about the next Xbox. Which one is the hottest one? The PlayStation 360. Oh, I need to have a six-figure car in my driveway. Oh, my house needs to be a McMansion and all of this other stupid shit. How about we get together, put some money together, and start really funding attorneys?
Right.
And really start, as I said earlier, pushing these class action lawsuits. How do you think the civil rights movement actually had any resolve? It was because of the lawsuits that were filed and made a part of case law. All this marching and talking and all this bullshit, that's exactly that, bullshit. You want to change something in America, you have to operate within its system. And the system of America is the laws.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and see, Jay Shine, here's my thing, right? Since we know that's how the world is currently, we can't still sit here and allow it to continue. We need to get up and do something about it. So I completely understand that. It's that feeling that I'm getting from this comment right here is one of being fed up. Yep, that's the first step. Now let's do, and I know Jay Shine is very successful. He's out here doing things. He's being a good example of black men, right? So it's not towards him specifically, but us as a whole. Yeah, if we know that, like, if we feel like they are being coddled, what are we gonna do about that? What would we do to the next black person if we feel like they being coddled? A theatrical act and a tax write-off instead of actual. Yes, exactly. Because if it never comes in, if nothing ever comes into fruition afterwards, yes, get it on the books. That's what I mean. Exactly. And now Mario says, first of all, I want to welcome
Facts.
we here to the panel, right? Mario says, I personally don't care for bills protecting black people. Writing legislation is one thing, having it enforced is another subject. Okay, get it done, but we don't have any measures in place to force this enactment. Okay, so here's the thing, right? I care about the bills protecting black people because once it's on the books, we have a leg to stand on in the current setup of the justice system. So we got to follow that part. And so therefore, if it's something that's in legislation and then they actively violate it, now we have the proof to say we tried to work through the system and now that's why we're going to act up. And that proof is not to other people. That proof is to us so that we know that we tried to do it that way and that way we recognize going forward that it doesn't work. Okay, so we need to be able to tell ourselves that we need to have that understanding, so that's why it needs to be on the books. So, but i
Exactly.
but i get what you're saying, Mario, right? But here's the thing, if it's on the books, like if it's not on the books, they can say, "Oh, well, we didn't know." If it's on the books, that takes away one excuse that they have, and then they have to literally in our face say, "We don't care about these laws." Once they say that, then we can stop holding each other accountable for not following all of the laws. But as long as they say we're doing what we're supposed to do, then we talk to each other and say, "Well, y'all need to do what's supposed to happen. Y'all need to do it according to the law." So, what do y'all think about that comment?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that, but getting something on the books is just like, it's a good cornerstone. It's a good
Hmm.
cornerstone because then when people are forced in the position where violence comes into play, those case laws can be used to defend a principle. So yeah, I'm here for it.
Hmm. Well, and I feel like it would do something for us though, right? It would quell all our curiosity because without it being on the books, there's going to be somebody that says, "Well, Well, they might follow it if it was on the books, you know? So it just takes away that one other step. Everything's a process.
That's
Yeah, no,
true.
I know that, Mario, and that's what I'm saying is you dealing with people that like to go down a rabbit hole. We need some people working on that rabbit hole just so we can show up and have a presence, and then we need other people that's not, that's doing something, that's finding a different tunnel. So we need one of everything. Yeah, exactly. Got to beat them at their own game, and then also be ready for their adaptation. If they recognize that we in the game, that we paying attention, that we're playing their own game, um, one, they're not above cheating, okay, and then two, you know, that's just for us to show up and have a presence. The goal is for us to for us to be the creators of the game, at least in my opinion.
I agree.
Okay, so now the last topic, right, for you guys, is current events worldwide. What can we learn from those things? So, what's been something that's been going on worldwide that we need to pay attention to? How can we use it here or abroad?
I don't honestly, I've been trying to like not pay too much dedicated attention to global news right now because everywhere you
Mm-hmm.
turn, it's the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So everything is
Yeah.
about like, oh, the pandemic, oh, we're opening, oh, we're closing. Oh, some
Right.
people, some states and countries are like, oh, we're keeping everything closed. I don't know. It's a whole bunch of chaos happening. And I think Italy handled the situation well.
Right.
I think Canada handled the situation well. And here in America, it's been handled poorly. And I don't know if that's like to do with because they really want to get rid of like poor people and black people. That's why they just letting us run amok. They said, stupids, go play in the germ filled atmosphere and die off.
Right.
Like,
Well, that's a big thing though. This has been going on for a year now. So I that is a good story that you brought up here. Is like what's going on with the pandemic. Are there other countries that are doing well with it? Bap mentioned Meghan Markle and the royal family, right? Jay Sean said it's people acting up in Europe, but I need him to tell me specifically which one because we're gonna talk about it real quick before we get out of here. So yeah, the pandemic is a big thing. It did affect worldwide, but who has the better rates? And I think like wait, Italy had a hot spot at some point, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
I
they
don't know.
did.
I'm looking, but I do know that like it's a lot of countries that didn't accept the vaccine, right? That they said they were going to wait for something else a little bit better. And I feel like why can't we say that here?
Well, because it's eugenics.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, it's also our choice too. It's a lot of people who aren't like they're just accepting it, and I get it. I hear y'all. Like for you, it's not a bad thing. You feel like let me go ahead and get this vaccine, but for me, I just have an adverse feeling about like I don't like a whole lot of medications. I only take like I try my hardest not to even take aspirin unless I truly need it. I try to do it naturally because if you understand like what a headache is and what it's causing it, you just reverse what you did. So I don't like putting foreign things into my body. I really don't. So for
Me
me, it's just not.
either.
I'm not gonna do it. Hey, Jay Shine. Now, hopefully she comes back. But Jay Shine, so what's been going on in Europe? Because I was gonna talk about Myanmar, or what used to be formerly Burma, going back to
Oh
military
yeah,
rule.
Burma's
So
turned
we'll
up. Yeah, a few weeks ago
okay.
they
So
took
we'll do
the
mine.
military
We'll
took
do
that
mine
over.
later. What's been happening? You said the protests against the new shutdowns in
Oh
Europe.
yeah, the Euro Wiggers are wilding out up here. You know what I mean? They tearing up shit. They
I feel like Jay
protesting.
Shine hit the
You know
list
what I
just to call them wiggers. I feel like that was
mean? These Wiggers out here in Germany don't know how to act, man. They gotta be stopped.
yeah,
This
somebody
is
ought to do something
Shit.
about all this white on white crime.
they pose up. Hey, it ain't nothing but white people out here, so it ain't got nothing to do with us.
Exactly. Look, we need to
so
be sitting somewhere in the window with some popcorn, like, ooh, wonder what they gonna do
yeah.
next.
So
Yeah.
they got two new strain variants running around Europe. You know what I mean? There's a lot of traveling in Europe, so Europe usually gets a lot of diseases. It's not just Asia that it's communicable. Europe culture is communicable too. You know, they sit around and eat a lot. They eat outside a lot,
Yeah.
eat with each other a lot. You know, they do a lot of things together. You know what I mean? And there's one thing that's awesome about Europe, especially in the summertime, with all the festivals and even in the
Yeah.
wintertime with the winter markets and whatnot. But they're real communicable cultures. So when something splashes down in here, it spreads fast. So they trying to shut shit down to get a hold on it. Plus, on top of that, that QAnon shit is, caught on over here. So no one wants to take the vaccine, you know, or any vaccine. So they got a high death rate. They got a higher death rate right now with COVID. People don't notice than they did last
Mhm.
March. So what they're doing right now is shutting shit down. So us in DOD, all the Americans over here, we get notified, from our employers, whether State Department or DOD, to keep our ass out of certain countries, certain regions. We get all
Mhm.
the skinny, but they can't make us do anything because we're not nationals here. But
Mhm.
their people ain't trying to fucking listen. So the poles are out
Mhm.
there whooping ass right now. They whooping ass in France. They whooping ass in UK because the
Mhm.
people were acted out.
But look
So
here, there's a person that got arrested here for not wanting to wear a mask, and I think like a regular store. I want to say like Walgreens or something. She refused
mm,
to put on a mask, and and then this was a Caucasian lady. She ended up getting slammed to the ground by the police. So I will say that this COVID has transcended race. They ain't
yeah,
caring who you are. You don't. That white privilege ain't working when it comes to COVID. See, when white people are scared, when they feel like they finna be losing their lungs just
especially
gonna
old white people.
disintegrate.
Yeah, especially
Huh?
old rich white people.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of old rich money, white money in Europe, and Europe is small, so they have to get
Yes.
control of this shit because it affects them. They can't just go hide in Wyoming. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Yeah.
They can't just go hide out in Idaho somewhere. They can't do that.
Yeah. It's
So
airborne, so you can't run,
yeah,
you can't hide. So now they
yeah,
they have a history of acting up and being real neurotic.
yeah.
When it's something that they can't buy their way out of.
Yeah, that's
But
why. And it's the
you,
reason why they have a lot of social programs out here too, because they did all that to keep the people, happy. Because Europe, all they do in Europe is turn up, and there's always revolts and wars between these old clans and tribes out here in Europe, man. So that's why they give a lot to the people over here just to keep them, satisfied. But
So
when you
wait, you
have a
mean it ain't
disease
just
running around,
America? You mean other places have entitlement programs too, Jay Shine?
oh,
I
it's
am
shit,
shocked.
shit, man, over here,
I
man.
agree with y'all.
That's why these white hoes ain't coming. Look, man, I'm telling you right now, if I dropped a hot one to one of these German chicks, she ain't leaving Europe to come to
See?
America for what? You know what I mean? For
See?
what? She gonna raise her Zaza beats or her Boris Kojo over here and then send her
Hmm.
Hmm.
to her daddy in 10, 15 years. You know what I mean?
Now look,
But
She
this
Jay
ain't
is
Shine ain't
she ain't
got no
leaving.
chill, so I'm gonna just say that the statements made by Jay Shine are definitely supported by this channel, but we wouldn't have said it in those words.
Yeah. But
right.
Era Black TV said something in the chat room that was real. And I don't think a lot of
You say a
people
lot of real
understand.
stuff.
Yeah, Era Black TV, he be on it. He said something about that capital situation.
Oh yeah, it
And
did.
that was very. I want to try to understand something. Being outside the country, you have a different vantage point of America, and you get to see what
Hmm.
other people see and what they put on their news. You know what I mean? And a lot of shit that's happened in the last 2 years since I've been here has been very, very fucking embarrassing. America
Hmm.
looks crazy to the world right now. I know you don't
Hmm.
understand that because you've been taught that America is everything's about America, but the world looking at America crazy right now. And when you have
Hmm.
right wingers, connecting with each other online, you know what I mean, because the right, you saw the Republicans going out to Russia. There's a reason why, the right doesn't buck against Russia. They have ties with each other. So there's a right wing movement in Europe. You know what I mean? Whether it's Ukraine, Greece. Remember that black boy that got killed out there in Greece? You know what I mean? There's been a lot of that going on. In East Europe, Russia, etc. And it's a revergence going on in Germany right now. So
Hmm.
they're connecting with each other online, and that shit right there that happened in the Capitol that emboldens people around the
Yep.
world because we supposed
Yeah,
to be America.
people look
You know,
to us for and I'm gonna say America. Yeah, that's what I was just going to say about. They look to us for the new trending. Like for some reason, America has been set up to where all of the new stuff comes out of here.
yeah.
Well, you
Yeah. So Arab
see,
Black. I'm sorry.
the
Go ahead, bro.
problem the problem is people were so hell bent on getting President Trump out of office. Well, not even the people. Not the people, people in power, because Donald Trump was upsetting the power diagram that has been going on in Capitol Hill. But the reason that the European culture is so, tight fisted with this plague and this pandemic is because they've had to deal with so many plagues in their history. The
Yeah, they did.
bubonic
Yeah,
plague, the
yeah, a
black
lot of them.
plague. So
All of
they
them.
like,
All of
oh
them. You might as well
hell
give them
no.
all of them. They had them all.
Yeah, so they like, this came from China, but
Yeah.
shut it down. We got to preserve us.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that America, like, this is the first war we've had on our soil. And this is one that
Yeah.
didn't have soldiers. So
Yeah.
Americans were completely unprepared. And because Donald Trump, wanted to expose the sex trafficking and the nonsense and drain the swamp, he put a target on his head. And people are so narrow minded in America. They're like, oh, okay, well, we just got to get rid of this guy. And I don't think they did take into consideration
Hey,
what
Monty,
young
man,
people.
stop that shit, man. Stop that, man. We're gonna roll Biden around in a wheelchair before that happens, bro. Chill with that
He
shit.
gonna be what's the one? Was it Roosevelt? The one
Yeah,
that
man.
nobody
Stop
knew
all
had
that bad
polio.
juju. Yeah, and Minty, stop all that bad juju. You know what I mean? God damn, stop throwing a hex out there. We don't need all that negative, talk. You know what I mean? We're gonna roll that motherfucker around
Exactly.
like
No, see,
Roosevelt.
because I got a question. I just really like. Are you serious? Or you being sarcastic? Because I don't
Damn,
know no
Minty.
more.
Man, man.
Mm-hmm.
See, this is what I'm saying. This is wrong with Americans, man. They ain't got no coof. I mean, try to ask them to stop, they're gonna just double down. You know?
And look at Queen of the South. She's right. They did recommend it. Like what was it? 2018, somewhere around that. Okay, thanks, Queen of the South, because I was curious. They wrote like he was in a wheelchair with a thing holding his head up straight. Nobody knew. See, we don't got that now. Everything is transparent because of social media. But yeah, no, they did recommend reparations a long time ago, which is why all of those HR bills that people were talking about with ADOS and FBA and all that.
Mhm.
Um, that's where all of that came from. Is the United Nations is like, yeah, get them people their money, but here's the thing: America's like, yeah, we hear you, but make us.
Yeah.
So what
Look,
we gonna
I'm,
do?
I'm gonna hop off of here and let you girls have it. I just wanted to hop on and get y'all a report from Europe, but I want to
No,
say this
no,
one
thank
last
you,
thing
because
before I
see,
go.
this is what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
like having a channel where people who are in all different areas of the world can come over here and tell us the truth about what's
yeah,
happening in those places.
yeah. I just want to
Okay,
say one last thing before I go.
no,
Just
go
to
ahead.
back up on what Arab Black TV is touching on, and I want everybody to understand this. It doesn't matter who you for, whether you for Trump or not, right? It doesn't matter what your political linings are. When something like that happens at the Capitol, I don't give a fuck if you're a Republican or not. Your stomach should turn. You should care how the country
Right.
looks. You know what I mean? Look, the country, our mystique and our prestige in the country, it's like stocks. You know what I mean? It's all speculative. And once your stock goes down, the price of business goes up. So I'm gonna give you a quick example. We have
Hmm.
consulates and we have, diplomats out in the world doing business. You know what I mean? That impacts our domestic business. So we'll get a deal, but the deal will cost more. And then those other diplomats will start talking to each other. They start getting more bolder and bolder. Why? Because it looks like America's on the decline. You know what I mean? And that's not a good
Hmm.
look. That's not a good look. So you could be mad about the election. You could say the election was stolen. You can say whatever you need to say. But the bottom line is what happened on January 6th was horrible for the country as a whole. It was bad for business. Because at the end of the day, no matter who's president, life has to go on. Business has to be conducted. And when business starts to turn down geopolitically, that impacts all of us back domestically. Y'all got to remember, America's empire. You know what I mean? So if other people are saying, you know what, I'm not going to do business with America, I'm going to keep doing business with China, or I'm going to do
Yeah.
business with another emerging economy, that
Basically, their
affects us back
business
home.
with us isn't safe. If we can
Exactly.
storm the Capitol, their business with us isn't safe. So they're gonna
Yeah.
sit by and watch how this play out first.
And if you think
Doesn't
I'm
But
trust
that
crazy,
them to
look
wasn't
at
a
it.
handle us.
Look at
storming of the Capitol. That was not a storming of the
Exactly.
Capitol. Like, I want y'all
raw,
to
raw,
really,
raw, raw. Citizens running into a Capitol building where all of our elected leaders are, is a bad look. Period.
citizens running into the building may be a bad
And
look. That's true.
it makes the country
But
look like it's on the decline. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of countries around the world who took advantage of that. We're talking about a lot. Make sure you understand this. Billions of people on the planet, most of them ignorant. All right. So they're going to
Hmm.
get what they get from their local media. They're going to get from what they get from their leadership. And if their leadership is pumping propaganda to them, you see what I'm saying? There's a ripple effect to that. That was not a good look. I don't give a fuck how you feel about it. I agree with Trump on a lot of his policies, but that shit that happened on January 6th cannot be tolerated.
A day that
But
will
this
live in
is
infamy. Go
right.
ahead,
It is a
Robbie.
day that will live in infamy, but it was staged. When I say that it's not a siege and it's not a riot,
Yeah.
there weren't
Mm.
people that rolled up there with like SWAT machines and like, you know what I'm saying, guns and really trying to do some damage. The police let those people in. So
One of the
yes,
greatest,
it looks
yeah, I know what I'm saying, but one of the greatest, reporters on that day was actually a foreign reporter. I think it was from the UK, and he was inside the group, and he has more. So I'm just saying, there's more shit that's being displayed over here. Actually, it's being displayed in American media. You can find it in America online if you search for it. I'm just saying what the media showed us to show the average citizen. Most citizens are too lazy to go do the homework. You know what I mean? But if you look at all the videos that came out that actually exist, it made America look bad, man. Those our halls of power. You know what I mean? That's not a good look for the world. You know what I mean? So at the end
Mm.
of the day, it's kind of look at it like this. You have a family, right? You're a prestigious family. And what do you do when you have a prestigious family? You keep all the nonsense internal. You know what I mean? You don't let the fucking world see your bullshit. You don't let the world know the two cousins in here fucking each other. You know what I mean? You don't let your dirty laundry out because the business of the family is hinged on how it looks. It's perception. It's respect. It's prestige. That's what I'm saying. So when you look at yourself as a country and the money that's generated, yeah, we got a lot of internal bullshit, but all of it, it's not just happened on January 6th. It's everything that happened in 2020. The George Floyd situation, the police killings. It's a lot of it is being seen by the world. People are seeing it in real time on video, and we look crazy to the world. I just want to put that out there. Because I'm telling you what they playing on the news is out here. All right, we don't control the news over here. So we
right.
looking weaker. We look like we're on decline. We got like we're insane. There's a lot of things we got to make sure we conscious of. We got a lot of bullshit at home. It's kind of like that movie. Anybody see that movie Precinct 13 with Larry
Yeah.
Fishburne and Ethan Hawke?
Yeah, I saw that movie.
Yeah, we got beef, but we got to put our shit on pause right now.
But
That's how
this
we got to think. You know what I mean? We're gonna take care of our shit. We got white supremacists we got to deal with. We got classism we got to deal with. We got sexism shit we got to deal with. We got a lot of issues in America we got to deal with. But when it comes outside of America, we got to be conscious of that too, because that affects our pockets.
yeah, but here's the thing. The world should have been looking at America like America was crazy far before January 6th of this year.
Yeah,
And the thing that irritates the hell out of me is when we sit here and we act like that is the biggest travesty that is going on in American soil. The reality is the people that, committed that crime against the Capitol, they have arrested
Hold on, Robbie. You
312
want me
people.
to share the screen?
You can. They
Okay.
arrested 312 people and 100 more are still expected to be charged. They initiated what? 900 search warrants, 15,000 hours of surveillance and body worn camera footage had to be looked at. They gathered 1,600 electronic devices. So, I mean, they're doing their due diligence. And if that makes us look crazy to other countries, then, I mean, it kind of is what it is.
well, I mean,
But
some of our
It's gonna look
allies
that
that
way until
helps.
we
Yeah,
get a result.
no, I mean,
They're
yeah,
not privy
exactly.
to the things that
Yeah,
are going on here. So it's
hey,
gonna
most
look
cultures in the
crazy
world deal
until
with
we get a result.
yeah, most cultures in the world they deal with outcomes. You know what I mean? So, and we don't have like Sharia law or nothing like that. We're not Saudi Arabia. We're not going to put somebody on TV and hang their ass or cut their hand off if they stole some shit. We don't have those kind of results. But I will say this: our allies, yeah, people of smart minds and people who have access to balanced media, they will see exactly what happened and see what you're saying raw. But for other countries that are competing with us or countries that are our enemies, you know what I mean? They're not going to show none of that. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So so it can't happen. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to say to you. We got to alleviate that because this is business. We still remember America is an enterprise. It's a business. It was built on business. Slavery was business. You understand?
And no doubt. And I totally understand what you're saying. And I understand where you're coming from. But understand where I'm coming from. The countries that are not our allies should have been looking at America as a source of weakness, should have been looking at America as a place that, you know what I'm saying, needs to
Yeah, they
have
do.
some.
They do. But when your defense is dependent on America, you know what I mean. Like say, look at our European allies, right? They talk shit all the time about America, but and at the end of the day, we provide their defense. So how far is that shit talking going to go? You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So keep in mind, like for instance, Germany. If you're a World War II buff like me and watched a lot of black and white, documentaries like I did, in 1946, 1947, this shit was bombed out. So I
Mhm.
remember, like, I was
What
driving to
was you
Frankfurt
know?
for the first
Yeah.
time with my daughter. Me driving to Frankfurt, I'm looking at how built up Frankfurt is. You know how built up the cities are over here, and they were able to do that because one, they didn't spend that much money on their own defense. Trump was right when he talked about that. How he went about it was fucked up, but he was right in principle. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah,
mean, look,
Trump needed a little bit more tact and public speaking
yeah,
skills. I'm like,
yeah,
here's
his
the thing:
he had no
whatever
tact.
he
He had
said was
no,
true.
yeah, he's just horrible.
If
Let me
he
talk to these
if he's
allies over here.
pissing off other countries and their leaders or whatever, whatever he's saying can be true, but ain't nobody gonna listen to him. Look, other
Yeah.
countries have a lot more value systems that are strictly adhered to and enforced, and
Hmm.
we are the land of the free and the brave and all of that, right? That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that the rest of the world believes in that. So when you go somewhere else, when you're in Rome, do as you don't get to come over there and disrespect them, because then if you're being disrespected, who's gonna listen to anything you have to say? So all of that
Yeah.
goes out of the window if he can't talk to people in such a way, and that's a skill to be able to convince people of something, right? I feel like,
Yeah,
in my
and he
opinion,
just didn't give a fuck. You know how they have those little,
exactly.
they have
Exactly.
those
You can't do that.
photo
You can't
ops.
do that when you're the leader of the free world. The leader of
Yeah,
the free world, you can't use freedom as a weapon against other people. You have to use freedom to show this is what I chose to do, and I'm capable of talking to you appropriately. I'm capable of
yeah,
learning about your place. This is if you give people freedom, if you give people democracy, they are going to want to choose, like I did, to understand you and talk to you in such a way that conveys respect. Not I'm going to choose to step on you, because then that's going to stop people from wanting freedom and democracy. So that's what my issue was with Trump, is that he's making freedom and democracy look bad because he's making it seem like it means they're just going to step across the earth with these huge shoes and everybody just going to fall underneath. That is going to make them fight us. Okay. So that
yeah.
was
I agree.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jay Shine. That was my
Now I was
opinion.
gonna say there was a funny ass video y'all could go check out. Is when Trump went with NATO. It's on internet, and it was like a
Lord.
6 minute video. And now here's the thing: I agree with his position. Right, Europe has not been paying their fair share for their defense. They be getting over the sucker shit with us in Europe is at an all time high. All right. Now the catch 22 is we kind of still need to be in Europe because that's how we project power into Asia, Africa, Middle East, whatever the case might be. Right. We can't really just leave this bitch like that. We cutting our nose to spite our face. But the other thing is we spent a lot of fucking money to be over here. We pumped a lot of
Hmm.
money into the European economies since the 50s. You know what I mean? We've been over there that long. You know what I mean? So and these people been able to build their countries back up. Poland, other countries too, that was in rubble after World War II, able to build themselves back up without having to spend a huge portion of their GDP on defense because we've been
Right.
over here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So when Trump approaches them that certain way, but here's what happened. There's a video out there. He's meeting with NATO, and he's complaining with NATO about Europe playing its fair share, for NATO, et cetera, et cetera. And then the NATO guy, the leader of NATO, fucked up and forgot he didn't know he was talking to a ratchet ass president. So he so he said to Trump,
Mm.
"This is on tape. You got what? Y'all can see this shit." He said this on
No,
tape.
hold on.
He said,
Look, Jay Shad, I'm googling it right now.
Yeah,
So
so he said this. So
keep going.
how they had a little Photoshop, so they got the empty plates and empty cups, and they sit across the table from each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he says to Trump, "Yeah, but you guys, are able to project power out of Europe, et cetera, et cetera." So basically, he was saying, "You need us too, Trump." So Trump went off. He folded his arms, you know what I mean,
Like,
and
nigga,
started
we don't
talking
need
shit about
you.
yeah, and started talking shit about Europe, and then he started talking shit about Germany and that deal they made with Russia with the natural
Hold
gas and
on.
shit. I was like, Trump is wild as the
Jay Shad, I looked it up. I got the article. All
yeah.
right, hold on.
Y'all got to
Let's
see this
do this
video, man.
real
It's
quick. Can y'all see
hilarious.
the
Look,
screen?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
we can
us at
see.
work in Europe,
Can
I'm
y'all
working
see
with
the
white
screen?
boys over.
Okay.
I'm working with white boys over in Europe, and we talking about this, and we just shaking our head because we agree with them in principle. It's a sucker shit. They got us in the fucking trick bag. You know what I mean? But the way he went about
Look.
it, you know,
Uh-huh.
how he handled it
Look,
was
he
like, God
get
damn, he's making the
look.
situation worse.
So Trump laid into two leaders who should be
Oh my
among the
god,
U.S. closest allies. He didn't care. He
he don't give a
dissed
fuck.
French
Yeah.
president and confronted the
Oh
Canadian
my
prime
god, man.
minister,
Yeah.
right? And he called them two-faced. Who you cannot use that. Like, who's talking about being two-faced? Like, I'm sure there's a more politically correct version of
Yeah.
that term,
So here's
but
the thing. This is what has to happen now. The only way we can
yeah,
get back into the top position. Say this is a wrestling match, right? We're gonna get
Right.
into the pro position. Is that we got to back off a little bit and let the Russians and let the mafias over here fuck up some of these Eastern economies. Some people got to die and get killed. So look, everybody can turn around and say, oh, okay, yeah, we right. We need America. Come on. You know what I mean? They go talk to their cousins in France, talk to their cousins in Spain, talk to their cousins in Europe, and they're going to have to pony up some more money. And then everything probably gets set back to right. And then we can reassert ourselves. That's the only way. Because right now he got us in the trick back.
Right.
You know what I mean? He got us in the trick back.
So
You know what I mean?
let me ask y'all this. America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, that has castigated, vilified, and tortured the African American people for numerous centuries, needs to be saved so that they can maintain this projected spirit of power and dominance across all the countries across the land with people of color. For why? I'm just curious.
Well, I'll tell you
No,
what.
no, I don't believe
It's
that.
threading the needle. It's threading the needle. It's threading the needle, Rob. Let me answer this question real quick because I know where she's coming
Okay.
from. You know what I mean? But
Okay.
here's the thing, Rob. We are Americans, right? So that's why I always chastise Americans about building in America so we can have political power and agency in America. That's how you have a say so. That's how you change policy. I have worked with and seen so many courageous, incredible black women and men in government. So when I hear certain motherfuckers say something crazy like the military is no place for a black man or the government is no place for black people. So what you're telling me is you're going to turn over the most powerful government that was built on the back of your ancestors, by the way, to all white people? You're going to turn the most deadliest military only to white people? No, we need to be in those rooms so we can
Exactly.
influence, certain things. So we have to engage America if we're going to change America. That's the only way through this shit. There's no way to hide from it. We all leave America tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be in some other country, say we're in Africa somewhere, where America's still going to be rejecting power. You know what I
No,
mean?
And
and
that was my point. Is we save it not so they can continue. We save
Yeah,
it
we
so that we
change
can
this shit
take it
from the
over.
inside. We change this shit from the inside. We're gonna have
Right.
to elbow our way into those rooms and change this motherfucker. We're gonna have to terraform the country because it's the most deadliest country on the planet. I mean, I know America the Great and all that shit, but America's the most deadliest country on the planet.
but
Our
my
military
point.
arsenal is insane. Our military arsenal is fucking ridiculous. I don't think y'all understand what we are. You know what I mean? So when we have idiots running it and crazy people running it, and you know what I mean, we're gonna have to, we're gonna have to assert ourselves. We're gonna have to. There's no way around that shit. And keep in mind, we're still part of the country. So if the country falls, we fall.
And here's the thing:
But are
if
we
the country
rising?
falls, whatever country is in
No,
charge
because
of them, what's
we're
going to be
not
our
working with each
ability
other,
to
bro.
take over that one?
Raw. We don't have a mentality, and maybe this has been groomed into us. Maybe this has been socialized. We don't have a mentality of power. Like I argue with the niggas all the time, and the P word they care about is pussy. I care about power. I care about agency and power. You know what I mean? So as a black man, as a man, I care about agency and power. We're not on that. All we have is a get along, mentality, the being comfortable mentality. We barbecue, we party. We ain't thinking about power. I'll tell you one thing, Andrew Yang and his people are thinking about power.
Right. And I agree with all that you said. But my point is this: we have existed in this system and we have fought for our freedom, for our agency, and the people that surround us is still lost in the trenches. Have you ever stopped to think maybe the problem is America's perceived power?
Yeah,
Maybe what
yeah.
needs to actually happen is for the land of the eagle to fall. It's
No,
not
because
like they're
I
gonna,
would say I
but
would agree with you if it
okay,
wouldn't
but
affect us. You know what I mean?
can I finish? Can I finish
Yeah.
speaking? When countries go in and they take over a land, they don't just arbitrarily kill everybody that's on the land. They take over the power. You know what they say: you knock off the head, the body will follow.
Yeah.
You take off the head of American government, the body of the land is going to follow. So it's not like we're gonna be really affected if America, as the figurehead,
How
loses the
not?
power.
How not?
How
Just look at
not?
your family.
Because
I'm gonna ask you a question. Look at your family. What they work for?
listen, I'm not talking about as far as who they work for, because we all work for somebody, but our black
You know what I'm
people
saying,
wouldn't.
sister? Do we have a plan to replace that? Do we have a
But
plan to replace? I mean, can we hire and employ 32 million people if this economy just fell apart tomorrow?
well, the economy has just fallen apart for the past year due to the COVID virus, and there's a whole bunch of people that aren't working. Matter of fact,
Okay,
most of
and
our people,
that crooked
most
government infused cheap. bullshit credit into the system to keep it afloat. You see what I'm saying? So if that
Right,
if that,
but
if that wasn't there, it will be fucking World War Z in America.
this is the thing. Who cares if it's World War Z in America?
I do. I got family in America. You know what I mean? I can't be old. I got family. I got old aunts and grandmothers and, you know what I mean, and cousins in America. That's what I'm saying. When we have these conversations, we're not thinking about the real ramifications of it. So what I would say
No,
is this.
I'm just not thinking about it from a singularly American perspective. Because
I'm
when we look at Africa, it's World War Z in Africa. When we
no, it
look
ain't.
at Iran, it's World War Z in Iran and Iraq and
Okay.
Pakistan
And
and
we
the
and we
bad
want that.
countries in
That's what
Europe.
we want. That's what we want.
Listen. What I'm saying is,
Bro,
if
do you know how
this
it feels to
system,
turn? You know how it feels when we wake up tomorrow and your water don't turn on?
yeah, I do.
I'm talking about for forever, no more.
Do you know that we didn't grow up with the entitlements that we have in this
But I
current
grew up with running water
society?
though. I grew up with roaches and rats, but I grew up
But
with running water too.
you know what? There's a lot of people in America and a lot of black people at that grew up without running water.
No. I just came from Cairo. All right, I just came from Cairo. Me and my daughter came from Cairo. I grew up in the crack 80s. I know how fucked up New York was in the crack 80s. Burnt out buildings, lots and all that. I'm telling you, sister, you ain't seen no shit until you go to Cairo right now.
Well,
All right?
I know.
All
Well,
right?
I live in the South, and I have an opportunity to speak with a lot of people that are of a
Yeah.
certain age, over 50, and a lot of them did not have running water until they
Yeah,
were
and guess
in
what, sister?
their
It will be
older
worse.
years.
It would be worse. So what we need to do is come together and be what other groups are being. We don't practice group economics. We're not leaning for power. We kowtow too much. We're doing too much for other groups. You got black people right now called the Progressive Black Caucus, and they kicking for the Asians. You see what I'm saying? That's all that shit's inappropriate. We're not looking out for our own people. So I'm trying to figure out, when did that happen? It didn't. We got people down in the South, like you said, getting hookworm right now. That's a fucking third world disease. That's a third world condition. I understand where you're coming from, sis. But
Right, but that's
you telling me if the society was to break apart, that's the best situation. We don't even do business with each other right now like we're supposed to.
right, and that's exactly my point.
So
Why
my point
don't
is, if we get together and we handling business, we do the great economics like I'm talking about, we empower ourselves, then we'll be in position to at least, sandbag ourselves if something like that happened. Right now, that's not the case. If
but this
America
is
fall
the
apart right
point.
now, we gone.
This is the point that I'm making. We're not working together because of the perceived power of the prevailing group in America. The prevailing group in America is controlling the media, is controlling the narrative, it's controlling the legal system, it's controlling the job market, it's controlling your housing situation, it's controlling money far and wide, the system that is currently in play. And what you are saying is, oh no, at all costs, protect the system. Maybe it's time for
I didn't
us
say to protect
because
the system. No, I didn't. I
Hold
didn't say
on,
protect
hold
the
on,
system.
Jay
I
Shine.
never said that.
Hold on. Let
I
her
never said
finish.
that. No, time out. I never
Okay.
said that. I said we
You
need to change the
did.
system. No, I didn't. I said change the system.
You said
I said we
you
need to terraform the American government. That's what I said. That's not protecting anything.
You said we need to put aside all of the issues of white supremacy and whatever else is
I said
going on.
protects our
And see,
image, right? As Americans, right?
they shine, but I let you say a whole lot, and every time I'm saying something to you, just cut
I'm
me off,
sorry. I'm
baby.
sorry, bro. I'm sorry. Don't talk to me soft because you're trying to soften me up. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, because it's supposed to work, Jay
That's
Shine.
that
I mean,
bullshit. She
let
trying
that
that slick
happen.
shit. Jason.
Let that happen and feel that
All right, she got
femininity
it. I'm
right
even
there.
going to,
And stop
because she
acting
going,
like that.
she going to keep doing that shit, and I'm going to fall in love. Go ahead, man.
Let that happen. That's what's supposed to happen. No, see, that is good interaction between men and women. That's what we supposed to do. Did y'all see that in real time? Bro, just soften that right on up. Good, yeah. Stop fighting that, Jay Shine. All
I'm
right,
sorry.
go
I get
ahead, Raw
aggressive,
G.
baby. I'm sorry. It's my aggression. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Nah, I understand what you're saying, but when we say things like we got to put stuff aside to protect this perception of power, I can understand your point of view, but looking at it from a bigger scale, it's like, damn, but the current perception of power and the current system is hurting my people. And I'm not going to say I'm
Always
going to
has.
participate in the dismantling of it, but I'm not going to take up my horse and my mule and go fighting out there, you know what I'm saying, on the front lines to protect it either. They're not fighting on the front lines to protect me or my people, not on any day.
I get you. I got you. And that's always been our condition in America. That has not changed since we got off the slave ship, since they mixed with, Aboriginals and made a whole new person called the Negro. I got it. But the way forward is not for us to sacrifice the majority of us, just to see the bitch burn down. I say we do the hard work of terraforming it, take it over.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you something. You know what's important? You know what's funny to me? I did a live stream on my channel, and I was talking to the men because they talking about system and all sort of nonsense, and I was like, I put the Democratic debate on the stage on the screen, and you have Bernie Sanders, who's a Jew, and their people came over, not even 100 years ago, and he's a sitting senator. Then you had Andrew Yang, who's the son of a peanut farmer, whose parents are immigrants. He's running for president, and I ain't seen not one real Negro on that stage. That's our problem. We've given up on ourselves because we at the end of the day, when we leave the country, we have American passports. That's our home. We the Negroes that built the country. We need to assert ourselves in it politically. And I'm not talking about being nice. I'm talking about getting on some real hardcore political shit where we only give a fuck about ourselves and we don't budge. And we're not going to win every fucking argument, but you got to keep going. You got to keep going. These other groups are coming to the country doing just that. They got an Indian chick as vice president. These other groups are not playing. They're going for power. Andrew Yang went from for the president to now trying to be the mayor.
She black, they said.
Yeah, whatever.
No.
Fuck ever. All she cares about is an Asian and got two Indian girls on her staff, and one is her policy director, and all she cares about what's happening in fucking India. See, everybody was on call with their group and we're not. Andrew Yang becoming mayor of New York City is a slap in our face. We're 25% of the population in New York City. We ain't got not one skyscraper, and we ain't got nobody out there, no group coming together to get power in that city. And that's our problem. That's our fucking problem. That's like that all over the country. Let's be honest, Raw. Let's be real. Let's be honest. All we care about is eating barbecue, fucking and sucking, dancing, and playing video games and listening to music. That's all we care about. As long as we're doing that and we doing it at a high level and we doing it with red bottoms on or with some Gucci on, we doing it. You know what I'm saying? But power translates into other things like agency. Like for instance, we from New York, right? So you know about the you know about the Kashivas, right? Some of those Kashivas are public schools. They get $32 million a year to run their public schools. Guess what's not happening on Kashivas? They're not having some man in a dress read children's books to their kids. That's called controlling your environment. You know what I mean? And we're not controlling our environments no more at all. We did in segregation to a certain extent, but we don't do it no more. So we just absorbed by the country. We just everywhere. We talk good online. We got pockets of black power online, but nobody's really coming together to do anything. Black power is why is it the Asian community is what it is because of the black people. So basically, I close up my business in the black community. I don't want to serve no more food. I close up my restaurant. I want to go take it uptown. But then the Asian comes in the sub shop, or Arab comes in the sub shop, or Hispanic comes in the sub shop, and they get all that money off your people. And then they grow their family, put their kids in college, and then they move out to the suburbs, or they create chains of their restaurants. And I've seen this happen in my lifetime, and I just don't understand why we don't understand it.
You know why? Because the educational system in the United States of America, which is ran by the prevailing group, is dead set to keep us beneath their foot. So, again, why are we opposed to the current system imploding?
I'm just trying to figure out what education system Pablo had when he hopped over a goddamn wall to come over this bitch, or crawled through a tunnel to come to this bitch and set up a business.
You know what?
I'm trying to figure out when the Asian gets sent over here in a container or at sea for 2 months, peeing themselves, and they get out of a container, and all they want to go out here and do is commerce and do business. So what I'm saying, sister, is our mindset.
Because they have a mindset because they come from a land that belongs to them. See, what they're groomed to do from the time they are born is this is your land, love your land. The opportunity is over there. By hook, crook, or book, get over there, take the money and send it back here.
Right. What did we do after what did we do after Reconstruction was ended? What did we do? You know what I mean? What did black people do? They started building their towns and businesses, right? One of the most famous ones is Wall Street, Black Wall Street in Tulsa, right? But it wasn't just Black Wall Street in Tulsa. We had small towns all over the place. We had places in Annapolis. We had other businesses here and there that also were burned down and attacked. What I'm saying to you is this, and I want everybody black to hear me when I say this. Those people who did that were 30 to 40 years removed from slavery. We're talking about no education. Some motherfuckers cannot read and write, but they they wanted what the so-called American dream. So I guess what my question would be to most black people is what is your goal in life? What do we have as our goal as a people? Do we want big businesses? Do we want any agency? Do we want any autonomy? Because there's really nowhere else to want on the planet to go. If you took your ass to Africa, you're gonna be warm with those tribes over there.
More examples of the prevailing group in the United States of America subjugating and stomping out African American people and their sense of industry in order to keep them under their foot.
Okay, well, then we fight back. Let me ask you a question. You know what you just said is right, bro. I can't even argue with that. I gotta concede. But my question, I guess, to you is: are we fighting back right now, the way we should?
No, you know why? Because the system as it stands is keeping us in a perpetual state where we can't fight back because we
Oh
too
my
busy
God!
fighting each
Oh,
other.
all right, man. I know. I got you. Like, look, sis, we're gonna have to break out of that. You know what I mean? And I think this generation is ignorant, as wild as it might be. Actually, might have the right attitude. You know what I mean? But we just need some leadership, and we need a direction. And I think get on the same page with each other, and valuing the fact that we're all going to have grandchildren one day, and say, what the fuck are we building for them? That's a
Let
simple
me,
question.
right, but this is the thing. You know how in an evolutionary chain, the recessive genes and like the weaker people are supposed to fall off. It's survival of the fittest. And we live in a society where it's not about survival of the fittest. We live in a society where it's, oh, okay, you weak, you can't make it. Here, let me put a crutch underneath for you. Let me hold you up.
All right,
Maybe
well,
that system needs to be taken away. And that's what I'm
mhm,
saying. Like, I don't want to see America in ruins and you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
Black Hawk Down and Saving Private Ryan. No, I don't want to see that here. But
yeah,
however, that was the best time in the American industrial complex was post-slavery, pre-recession, when people had to get out there and get it on all fronts for all races, for all little subgroups in the country, because everybody had to get it from the soil.
yeah. I get it. So look, my thing is this: I would say, black folks, stop depending on the system and start using the system. That's my mentality. All right, I'm not depending on the system for shit. But I'm going to use this motherfucker to the fullest extent, whether that's on a personal level or we could do it as a group. It don't matter to me. You know what I mean? But the system is what it is, and it's always ways. It's kind of like the Matrix, right? One thing about the Matrix people don't understand is that they always had to go back in it, right? So my mentality is I plug into the Matrix every day, do my business, and I unplug from that bitch because I created my own environment, which I run and rule. You know what I mean? My
And
house is
that's
ran
what
the way
I'm
I run.
trying to get people to do. Like, I'm glad you
Yeah,
said that, Jay Shine, because, like the freedom that you show on this platform, let alone in real life, is what I'm trying to get people to understand is there's a potential for you to be able to create and maintain the temperature around you in your own environment. So I'm
it's
glad
all
you
about
feel that.
agency. It's all about agency. So I'm not dependent on the system. I want to use it. You know what I mean? To whatever we can. And it's not, I'm not saying you're always going to have wins. I'm a chess player. I don't win every game chess game I played. I won a lot, but I lost a few. And every loss, you're supposed to learn something, take what you learned from that and keep going. One of the most important conversations I had was with a black businessman. He was a government, he was a DOD contractor. And I just one day asked that brother in the hallway, like, yo, how did you do it? And his business is based out of out of Maryland. And I asked the brother, so how you do it, man? And he just told me straight down. I said, yep, young blood. Let me just tell you how it is. I went belly up 7 times before I got this one right. But then every
Hmm.
time I went belly up, I learned something. And then I finally got it right. So there's nothing wrong with failure. That's why I get frustrated with niggas talking about, well, we lost. We lost. We lost. We didn't get that. Take the lessons in it. Chew the meat, spit out the bones, man. We know we have the internet. We have everything we need to know what to do and what not to fucking do. The only problem right now is we refuse to come together. We refuse.
Hmm.
But I bet you if we were in the middle of a war and we only had each other to depend on in order to survive, we would come together then.
I don't think
Yeah,
so.
and my issue is, why does it always have to take that? Like, why we
I'm
can't
sorry.
just.
I would agree with Ro, but I don't think so. I think the program is so fucking deep, man. You know what I mean? It's kind of. I think with some of us, the program is that deep. Everybody can't be saved, man. This the cooning and the bed bucking and the bed winching, all this fucking racial showcasing we've seen on TikTok. The programming is deep. You know what I mean? That the fact that in 2021, as black people, we dealing with plantation politics amongst each other. Like I always say, it's plantation politics as usual.
Right. And so I do think this is a good place for us to end. And that means that with the excitement of this conversation as it is right now, y'all gonna tune in 2 weeks from now when we do the next episode, right? I think this could possibly be a a, a a recurring part of me and Robbie talking. It's just like, what do we think? Basically, because here's the point why I started this channel, right? Neo-Nubian nuances. Black people who are just now waking up, realizing the power in being black. What do we see that needs to be called out that's different, that nobody is talking about, nobody's touching on? Like, what are the different things? And I appreciate you, Jay Shine, for coming in and giving us the perspective when you leave America. So many people have all these plans for reasons why they should leave America, but what do you see? Like, are you guys prepared for what you see when you get out of America? Do you understand? Are you keeping abreast of worldwide topics? This place where you're gonna go, it may have one thing that's attracting you, but what else is there? Know that before you get there. Okay. And so I like that you came up to share that
Oh,
with us,
can I say
Jay.
something real quick? I just want to say something real
Mm-hmm.
quick too. Everywhere has a system too, by the way, and there's
Right.
always a pushback from every system. When I got over here in 2018, it was November 8, 2018. I remember y'all was looking at the news. The French, they had the yellow jackets out there, and they were throwing bottles at the police and turned up, and it got to the point where even the Germans closed their border because they were setting up fires. And I mean, these people turn up out here. Not only that, the following few months there was a revolt in Hungary. So people always push back against their systems. We're not the only ones in the world who got a problem with our government or our system. You know what I
Hong
mean?
Kong.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I forgot about Hong Kong. That's right. That was happening a couple of years ago too. This is a human condition, and we're no different from that. The only thing is that we forgot and what to fight for. We've been pacified. We've been we've given all these vices. I think Nixon said it best. Let's give them their vices and they criminalize them. You know what I mean? And criminalize them for their vices, and that's exactly what they did. And we fell into that. We got to get conscious enough to get out of that and get on the business mindset. And like I said, just think about our grandchildren. That's all.
Okay. So with that, we got to get out of here because it is Sunday. I know people want to enjoy their day, and I want to thank everybody for coming in, hanging out with us, coming, participating, hitting the Cash App, sharing the
Yeah.
stream. I
And I
really
love you,
appreciate
girls. I
all of
love you,
that.
ladies. I love you, ladies. And I love you
Oh, we
too,
love
Raw.
you too.
And Raw, next time we cross swords, don't be nice. Fuck all that. You know what I mean?
Because
Fuck
what
all
he's
that
saying,
dumb
Ron,
shit.
he can't handle
Yeah.
it,
I
and
can't
he need
handle
to be
that. You know
able
what I
to
mean?
still
Yeah.
go at you, and he can't.
And
See, that's what I'm talking about.
that shit throws me off and shit. I be missing points and stuff. No, fuck all that, man.
Jay
You
Sean,
know?
I don't come out like that unless somebody make me angry. I got too much love for you. You can
Look,
never make me
she
that
doing
See
it
what
right
I'm
mad.
now.
saying? Look at
Stop.
it. It's still
Stop that shit, man. She doing it right now. I'm out, man. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Jay
by
Sean.
station. So, Robbie, you got any ending closing thoughts when we talk about here today?
I appreciate everybody that came to the stream and everybody that came over and showed some love to the channel. You guys just stay cognizant of the fact that, yeah, we want to have legacy wealth and we want to take advantage of the system that is around us, but this system isn't for us. And while
Mm-hmm.
we are being agents creeping into the system, trying to dismantle it, have a backup plan and 2
Right.
and 3 and more. You understand what I'm saying? That's it.
Right. And my closing thoughts is just that I basically want us to wake up and pay attention. I feel like as a Black person, we are very creative. We are very innovative. We are intelligent. And we're also nurturing and, we're a very peace loving, culture when we don't have to fight for our lives. So I want us to understand that and I want us to utilize that. That means we got time to pay attention and know things. And I want us to be able to use our brain over using our body and our physicality. There's nothing wrong with having that in your disposal, and we do, and we excel at it. But we also have a brain. Like, let's not forget that other half. There's more to us than just athleticism. I was listening to some show this morning, on talk radio, and they were talking about all the things that they love about Black culture, and this was from a non-Black person, but it was all about dancing, entertainment, music, the singing voices, and she said that like twice. Oh, they're singing voices. And I'm like, look, all that is about entertaining you. What do you notice in us that you can accept and appreciate and it has no value to you? And until they can tell me that, I mean, we still need to be in charge of our own. Okay? So that's my goal, is for us to know that yes, we are physically amazing, but we're also mentally amazing as well. We don't let other people pigeonhole us and put us into a box. Let's break out and define ourselves. And that's the whole point of my channel. So I want to thank everybody for coming by, listening, participating. Um, Welcome to the people that end up watching the replay. Right. I hope there's something that you guys get from this that can be very uplifting. That's why I do it on a Sunday. I want y'all to have a great Sunday. I want you to be uplifted. I want you to feel right, like the same feeling that you get when you go to church, but except for it's you that you're praising right now today. Right. And you guys enjoy the rest of your week and see you back here in 2 weeks. Bye.
Peace out, y'all. Fly free.